welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I appreciate your patience here this morning as Murph and I got set and ready to go inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We appreciate you being here hanging out with us where sports meets life. This weekend felt like it was long, and then at the same time, it felt like it was really short. Like, I'm sitting here going, man, when was the last time I got on the air? And I'm like, that was Friday. That was a couple days ago. But at the same time, I don't know. It feels like there was some length to this time off, so to speak. You know, maybe it's because I rested a little bit. Maybe it's because I had a little rest moment. But happy to be here with you. Happy to hang out. Hope you're doing well. Hope you rested. Hope you had yourself a nice time. And, just hoping that everybody's safe and healthy and doing well and treating each other well. This world needs to be a little bit nicer. I know I say it all the time, but we need to be a little bit nicer. Not because Thanksgiving week, not because Christmas is coming, not because it's New Year's and people pretend to have resolutions, but because, and shout out to the people that have resolutions and keep them. Much love. It's because we should just be nice to people, you know? If you have time to go and critique people on social media, you're not working hard enough. If you have time to attack somebody or question somebody, and number one, and not do your research, and is that the thing that we do now? Is that how we live life now? We just don't do any research. We do no background. We just accuse people of things. Like, that's the world we live. I was talking to my dad about this last night. I'm like, that's the world we live in today. We just, have no basis to the argument and then just make the argument. And then when we find out we're wrong, some of us apologize and some of us just keep going. Or we find another way to say it. I don't understand, There's been no time in my life where I've ever thought, you know what? I'm going to go in person or online. I'm going to go attack somebody because I think I should. You know what I mean? We have moments where you're upset, where you're frustrated, where you don't understand things, but man, just be nice to people. And unless you walk a mile in somebody else's shoes, what do you know? Do I talk about people here on the show? Right? Do I make comments about things I don't understand? And I give examples, like when the Spurs used to sit, right? When they would sit Tim Duncan or Manu Ginobili or Tony Parker. Now that LeBron, he sits and he waits, and it's the season started, and they're like, here's LeBron's debut. And sometimes it's an injury, but it's sometimes it's not, I guess, that these guys can just sit. And I agree with Charles Barkley, who made the statement, if you can't play Tuesday and Wednesday, you can't play 2 games in a row in the NBA, why are you making $50 million when you got a cop that's never going to see $1 million, putting his life on the line, putting her life on the line every day, and you're just playing basketball, right? And I'm not taking away, I love the sport, but $50K to play ball, plus not even $100K to be a cop, what are we talking about? And I've made that statement before, well before these guys started sitting. Oh, I'm taking a little rest day. What is a rest day? Could you imagine if the NFL did that? Could you imagine if Trevor Lawrence for the Jaguars was I'm going to play every other game so I can secure that I'll be in the league longer. I'm going to play every other game. What are we talking about? Could you imagine if Aaron Judge in the middle of the playoffs was you know what? I'm not playing game 4. We'll make it to game 7. We'll be fine. If Shohei Ohtani played baseball and hit 50 home runs and stole 50 bases when he was rehabbing his body to be a pitcher again, most guys just don't play that year. So you got people in the NBA sitting because they're trying to rest. Did you not sleep the night before? And so they're resting from Tuesday to Wednesday, and Shohei Ohtani's playing through an injury after having surgery, cranking home runs. You know what I mean? Do I think that Shohei Ohtani should have $700 million? Hey, if they want to pay it to you, brother. Also, at the same time, the Dodgers have that money. but the city of Los Angeles doesn't, apparently, or California, because they go in debt all the time. So, by the way, look at look at the states that make certain decisions and look at which ones are in debt and whose taxes are the highest. It's kind of clear, like, oh, okay, these people make these decisions and these states all do the same thing and they're in debt or their taxes are astronomical. So just pay attention to what's going on out there, folks, because this world has gotten a little bit insane. So I think it's very important for us to, number one, care about people. Number two, not judge people. Number three, take the time to get to know what the heck we're talking about when we speak. And, maybe be a little bit nicer. These are all things that are doable. They cost nothing. How about that? They're free. So it's just weird. And you just hear things and you see things and, you just wonder, like, if everyone's got an opinion, are they prepared to have an opinion come back at them? I guess that's the question. Like, if I decided to come to your job and just go after everything you are, the type of father you are, the type of husband you are, the type of worker you are, how you were late today, how you didn't listen to this, you didn't do that, you didn't do this right, you didn't do this quick enough, you're not making enough money. Like, what if I treated people the way that they treated me? What would this world look like? It'd be dark, it'd be dingy, it'd be pretty friggin' terrible, to be honest with you. So I think we all should be a little bit nicer, a little bit kinder, and we should all realize that there's people like me in this world that are not going to spit back at you when you spit at me, and you should be grateful for that. You should be grateful for that. My mother told me that before. I go, Ma, why do people treat me this way? She goes, Daniel, they're going to talk to you some kind of way, and you're not going to be mean. But the next guy's going to knock them the hell out. And what are they going to do then? Because the next guy's not going to care. And I don't want to see that happen. I don't want to see somebody get knocked the heck out, right? Figuratively or literally. But I guess I got to start this week off by saying to people, who do you think you are? Right? Who do you think you are? That you can have opinions about everything all the time, and most of you don't even know what you're talking about half the time. So, I mean, it's just wild to me. And I'm sure we'll talk about Fran Brown with Murph today. And there's people that love Fran. Now they want to fire him. I get a guy that writes a message to me every week. Can you confirm that Fran's getting fired? Well, the guy started with, can you confirm that Fran's taking another job? Can you confirm he's going to Penn State? Now he's getting fired. So this guy wanted me to confirm that he's getting a better job. Now he wants me to confirm the guy's losing his job. How about this? Okay. Syracuse, are they playing well? No, the Italian's coming out of me. Do you hear it this morning? I'm feeling it because that's what happens. So when you've had enough, the Italian comes out. The Sebastian Maniscalco comes out, I guess. I don't know. But we're going to talk about Fran today, I'm sure. But Murph and I are going to laugh this off. I'm also sure because so many people love Fran and now they want him fired. Right? Think about that. Think about if somebody came into your job and you had an off day. And the moment you had an off day or you had an off couple months, we said, boom, you're fired. I hate you. Go die over there in the corner by yourself. I mean, think about how you talk about somebody and then think about if you would want it done to you. It's the craziest thing in the world that the golden rule that God left us with is treat other people as you would want people to treat you. Treat other people the way that you would want God to treat you. What does Our Father say? Forgive me my trespasses as I forgive those who trespass against me. Treat me the exact same way that I treat other people. Forgive me as I forgive them. So if I don't forgive them, don't forgive me. And if I forgive them in a way that is just mean and hateful and rude and spiteful and I get back at them and I'm jealous and I'm angry and I do an eye for an eye, then do the same thing to me. Or if I forgive them truly with my whole heart and I do the best that I can and I'm nice to them even when they're mean to me, treat me that way. So this morning, we have to talk about a lot of things. But on this show, as we discuss things, I'm not going to waste my time. I've said this to Murph before. I'm not going to waste my time stating a bunch of things and then stating the reason, not the reason, but like the preface thing. Like how comedians feel like they can't be funny anymore sometimes. Because like we have to tell you everything that we're doing before we're doing it so that when we do it, you're not offended. Like how many times have I layered like I think Indiana's a good. I had somebody with Notre Dame. I said Notre Dame beat Syracuse 70-7. They beat one of the worst teams in the country. Please do not tell me that this makes them a playoff team even more so, because they only have one good win and it's against Pitt. I don't consider the USC win a good win. I consider it a quad 2-ish. But Pitt, I consider a good win. It is. It's a good win. You know? It's a good. They just blew out Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech had only lost one game. So I consider Pitt to be a good win. I really do. But outside of that, Notre Dame's being praised for 2 losses. They're being praised for quality losses. No quality wins outside of Pitt. USC's only where they are because they're in the Big Ten now. If USC was in the Pac-12, they wouldn't be in the top 25. Because look at when they were in the Pac-12 and look at when they didn't do what people hopefully thought they were going to do. They fell out of the rankings. Now they're still in the rankings. For what reason? I don't know, because they're in the Big Ten. But I had somebody respond to me, oh, go ahead and cry, baby, cry. Oh, cry, you moron. By the way, when we call names, you people disappear from the social media. I hope you understand that or don't understand that. But I don't name call, and I check myself when I do. So, like, I'm not a person on the show who's name calling. In the comfort of my own home, if I'm talking to God, I'm like, God, I'm frustrated. I full disclosure, last night, I was like, God, I'm sorry for calling people names. I shouldn't do that. So, when I talk about Notre Dame, Murph can also confirm this, and so can Papa Joe and everybody else who's watched and listened to the show with eyes and ears that are not having agendas. I've never said Notre Dame's a bad team. My response to the guy was, Notre Dame's a good team. Nobody says they can't make it to the championship, and nobody says they can't win it. I'm just saying, have they earned the right to be there? That's all I said. Once you're in the tournament, you can do a ton of things. Could UCF a few years ago, when they had beaten Auburn, who beat Georgia and Alabama, who played for the national championship, could Auburn and UCF, if they were in the college football playoff, have wreaked some havoc playing the Alabama and Georgias of the world? We don't know. Maybe. But, Notre Dame, they get a pass. And you can hear it in the media. You can hear the blatant bias in the media. They keep saying these buzzwords, but there's no substance to them. It has nothing to do with wins. It has nothing to do with what's been done on the field itself. It's just talk. It's just blah, blah, blah. I like Notre Dame. And that's all it is. But when you hear me question the validity of a team in a playoff game, that doesn't mean I don't think the team's good. It doesn't mean I don't think the team's talented. It doesn't mean I don't like their coach. I very much like Notre Dame. But it's not about who I like. It's about being an impartial broadcaster. It's not about who I enjoy watching and sitting down and interviewing. It's who is this team and what do they bring to the table this physical year. And if you think that Notre Dame deserves a spot over an SEC team that's in the top 6, you're bonkers. Maybe they deserve a spot over, I don't freaking. Indiana and them, they got similar, right? Indiana's got 2 quality wins, but is Oregon really that great? And Iowa's dropped off a bit. So, is Notre Dame's win over Pitt similar to Indiana's win over Oregon? But let's be real. Let's be real. Let's have real conversations. Let's do our research. Or let's wait and do our research before we have an opinion. People are so quick to opinions these days, but they don't even think. Murph is here with us. It was a really long intro because the Italian in me is just really sick and tired. Murph, you deal with this stuff. You see this stuff. What is going on in the world when people respond to posts about words that aren't in them? When people yell at people about, are we not seeing in society on a grandiose level with the national government, with national are we not seeing that sometimes the media says things that aren't true? Sometimes people do things.
Sometimes?
Exactly. So, what are we saying, Murph? But yeah, is the Italian in me coming out this morning? It is. And not because these people get under my skin and I hate them and I want them to die, but because I don't understand why people speak about things that they don't understand. And then when you try to educate people on factual evidence, they just keep going. And it's not even that they challenge me or somebody else about something. It's about how many times have they gone to somebody who's the wrong person to go to. Like, to come to me and question the validity of something that I'm doing or like the work that I do. Like, there's things, I'm trying to broad scope this, but it's not even getting attacked by people. It's getting attacked by people that, if they did like a lick of research, if they did like a half a millisecond, if they handed their kid a tablet at age 3 and the kid just typed gibberish on it, you would find, oh, I probably shouldn't say that because that's wrong. I mean, I just, what did I say weeks ago? We have never been exposed to more information in the history of this planet. And somehow we have never been more ignorant than we are today. So with more information, people have looked up less and apparently become more naive. So I open it up to you because I'm going to take a sip. I had a long intro, but I want to know your thoughts because I just don't, Murph, I don't get it. It's not even that people are mean. It's that they're so ignorant and illogical and irrational. And the stuff that I see come across my desk, I'm like, did this person even know what they were talking about or who they were talking to? Or do we just like yell at people on a whim these days?
No, we just yell at people on a whim. That's literally what happens. The issue that we see in the world, I'm not even going to say in America, in the world today, is that people want to make everything about politics or make some sort of way of disagreeing with somebody on anything. People just want to be, words I would never say on a family show.
Yeah.
It's the people that make themselves the victim, or the people that make everything political, or the people that know nothing about the topic that you're discussing start going off on, random little things. This is what is wrong. Has anybody seen, or have you seen any of those posts about that, what they call it, the DoorDash girl that claimed sexual assault when she was delivering DoorDash to somebody and the guy's door was barely open? She opened it and apparently he was laying on his couch, exposed, sleeping.
Yeah.
Passed out drunk. And she claimed that she was sexually assaulted. She has now gotten arrested. Good for her, by the way, because you were not the victim, young lady. You were the perpetrator. And you are completely ignorant and a complete and utter lunatic for even posting that on social media. There's way more examples that we could go through. That was just the most recent one that kind of, popped into my head. Yeah. But you see that happening more and more.
Yeah.
You really do. And in a situation like that one, it begs the question, if somebody makes a false accusation, should they be charged equal, and should they face a certain, a prison term equal to the person that would have gone to prison had they been convicted? My answer is absolutely. If a woman falsely accuses a guy of, SA, and it's proven to be false, it's illegal to file a false report. Why is she not going to prison? If it's true and it's genuinely true, then that guy should rot in prison. He should. But if it's not true and it's proven to be not true, then she should go to prison.
Yeah.
Conversation for another day. But in general,
no, I get what you're saying.
More and more people these days are basically taking things out of context. Yeah. It happens all the time. And it kills it. I hate saying it because I voted for the guy 3 times. Ever since Donald Trump became not even became the president, before he became the president. Mostly since he became president, though. The media is now unreliable. People have gone psychotic on both sides. Nobody can agree to disagree with each other.
No.
It doesn't happen anymore.
No. And they shut down the government and screwed over the people because they can't play in the sandbox together. Like,
and whose fault was that?
You know, they can't. But you look at it, Murph, and you're like, what are we doing here? You know, we have adult children that are running things in a country. Not that all of them are, but it's like, what are we talking about? There's censorship in the media. Like, there's literal social media that listens to you, tracks you, punishes you if they hear you say anything about them that they don't like. And I've gone through that multiple times. I mean, what world are we living in where your phone is recording you, listening to you, and there's different applications that have allegedly been brought up on potentially selling information or using information, and they still exist. And they're still doing things. So it's like, there's very eerie things that I've gone through that I'm going, okay, so, and then I did it just for fun. I said something in front of my phone about a specific company just to see what would happen. I got punished 3 times. And it was like random stuff, random messages, random things, and it's censorship. It's literal censorship. See, when I went to school, I don't know why other people go to school or what they do when they're there now, but when I went to school, I got educated, right? I took the information in, I tried to understand it, and
you know what they do? They get brainwashed.
Right, and I'm using it now. I'm using things now. Like, you can't call people certain names of people in history unless they parallel that. Like, I can't make an analogy about a team, right? Unless I understand the parallel, unless I understand what I'm saying. See, I make analogies, metaphors all the time, parallels all the time here on the show, but I can't do those things unless I know what I'm talking about and unless both things line up. And my dad and I have these conversations all the time where he'll say, that's a good example, or that's not a good example of that, like use something else. And so when we look through history and we understand history and we assess what's going on, there's a lot of things that are happening, but we live in this culture now, do as I say, not as I do. I can call you names, don't call me a name. I can tell you what to do, don't tell me what to do. I can tell you what to believe in, don't tell me what to believe in. And that's why I tell people all the time, they say there's 7 deadly sins, and I say there's 8. I think hypocrisy is one of the deadly sins. Because hypocrisy is what we live in now. And you're right, Murph. There are people that are just sitting on Facebook, just sitting at home. Their wife hates them. She's yelling at them. They're trying to pretend like they're sleeping. And they're just looking at stuff and they're going, oh, what's that? I hate you. I hope you die. I think that you're wrong.
People have
I think
no
you're
lives.
You know, but it's like, there's people that respond to posts and they say clueless post. And the post is a factual statement. Like if I post the standings of a conference and I say, here's the standings of the conference, here's everybody that's... I did a post a few days ago. And I put, here are the ACC standings. Now, you know this and I know this, Murph. When you post a picture, if it's a long picture, if it's a big picture, it doesn't show everything. You got to click on it. But this happens more than once. I post it and it's got Pitt in first. It's got Pitt on the top of the standings, right, in the picture, because you have to click on it to see the whole standings because there's 17 teams. So people are like, whoa, Pitt's here? And I had people in the past that wrote to me and they're like, yo, this isn't, you know, something like, this isn't accurate. This is wrong. And I'm like, click on it. Click on the picture, honey. Let's it, click it. That's where it, And so like it said that Pitt, it had Pitt at the top because you had to click on it. So people, oh, is Pitt here? Oh, is this that? And then I wrote Georgia Tech. This was going into this week. Georgia Tech, SMU, Virginia, and Pitt are all like they're all in the running to be in the ACC championship game. Okay? So I didn't put Miami because Papa does his research. And Miami needs a lot of crap to happen. They need the ACC to blow up to make it to the ACC title game. So I didn't put Miami. Because right now, and I'll get to it in a second. Let me get to that in a second. Let me put that over there. So the person put clueless. And I put, what are you talking about? It's a factual statement. It's what's going on, and it's a picture of a conference. Like at this point, if I posted a picture of a baby, is somebody going to tell me it's not a baby? It's a giraffe? So I put
You never know these days, man.
So I put this out here.
They'll say kids identify as anything they want.
Yeah, well, that's, you know.
It's all the blue-haired freaks that think there's 58 genders.
The indoctrination
and
of
you can identify as whatever the heck you want.
By the way, the indoctrination of children, not a great thing. So, but when we're doing this and I'm going through it, I said to him, I go, clueless. It's a picture of conference standings of the ACC. Nobody made up the stand. This is the standings. Okay. This is what happened in real life. Come with me to the real world. And I named 4 teams. Well, you didn't name Miami. I said, what's Miami going to do? Right?
Mathematically, sure, they could still get there.
Yeah.
But they need the come to Jesus moment for all of these teams and for everything to go wrong in order for them to make it.
Right. So, but
unrealistic.
So because
it's less than 2%.
But look at what the person did. I named 4 out of 5 that are mathematical. Oh, you didn't name the 5th. And it's like I named the 4 ahead of them. I named the ones that I think so. But here's the thing: after this past weekend, who has the easiest road to get there? Virginia and SMU. Easiest road to get there. Win, handle your business. Okay. Miami's got to beat Pitt, and then they got to hope Virginia loses and SMU loses. They got to hope that Murph blows his nose at 9:07 and not at 9:08. I mean, there's a lot of things that have to happen here. But again, this is what people do now. They watch and they go, he's 98% correct. You missed the 2%. And it's like, let me tell you something, okay? If you have a job where you're 100%, you know what? I responded to one guy. I said to him, I said, because I normally don't respond, but I responded to one guy. I go, because I was typing and I typed a word wrong. I missed a letter, was wrong, but I didn't see it. So I posted it really quick. And I put like 9,000 posts out, right? So this, you know how much work I put out here. So the guy sees it and oh, you made a mistake. He's like, you put forced instead of first. Ah!
It's a damn typo.
Right. And you know what I did? I said, I'm sorry, sir. I guess you've never made a mistake in your life. I guess you've lived a perfect life. I didn't know. And then somebody else came out and was like, you know, what are you doing? Like, what? And so he responded, well, you know, Dan, and a nice backhanded apology. He said, I didn't mean anything by it, just trying to joke. And then he called me like some name, like you know, just trying to joke, you know, Lil Stacy or something like that. And I look at this and I'm like, man, either go have sex or leave your wife or do something, because you're backed up with anger, you're backed up with other stuff. Just figure it out. But it's not my problem to figure life out for these people anymore. And it was never my problem to figure it out before. But Murph, this is the crazy idea I had in life. I thought if I chase my dreams and I follow God and I'm honest and I'm kind and I'm considerate and I'm consistent and I help people with everything that I do, who could possibly be mad? But what I've realized is
idiots.
If you're a coach, I was like, I got into this profession. I was like, holy crap, coaches get attacked. Holy crap, now players are getting attacked. These are kids. Not that it's even right to attack a coach, but I'm like, these are friggin' babies, right? People shitting on Syracuse. Kids 18 years old, 17 years old. There's people out there telling people to break up with Syracuse football players because they lost to Notre Dame. And like whether that's a joke or not, like what that doesn't even make any logical sense. And have you ever watched the Syracuse game or did you just see the score? Like you're telling people, break up with that guy because he's a wuss. Look at how much he lost by. And I'm like, what does dating somebody have to do with wins or losses in life? Come be with this guy who's a champion. The irony is, if it's the person that said it, he's never been a champion and he's never been close. So it's like, what are we talking about that we just do this now? Like, you attack nice people, you're kind of nice people, nobody can ever do enough for anybody. And I always think about this, Murph. I go, what if I went to their job, went to their cubicle, shook it, took their coffee, dumped it on them, slammed their head on their computer, stood there for 8 hours, and just kept saying, you're trash, you're nothing, you suck, you should die, you should kill yourself, you're a horrible person, you're worthless. If I gave everything that they wrote on social media, just gave it all back, just sat there the whole day, called up their wife and go, why are you married to this pansy? What a joke. Why are you with him? What a joke. Leave him. What a joke. This guy can't even put his pants on right. What a joke. Like, if this is how we lived our lives, if we literally went to the people that are smut on social media and we gave it all back in real life, these people, how could they function? You'd have grown men and women crying in bathrooms, locking themselves in all day. I mean, what are we doing, Murph? Because you and I are here this morning. We're going to talk about teams. We're going to talk about college football rankings. We're going to have opinions. And then some person from Altoona is going to go, oh, I hate my life, so I'm going to type about it. Like, where are we? Where are we in a world where we can't just talk? Is this is America now? You can't speak. You can't be a nice person. You can't be a kind person. And I'm not saying I would do this to anybody because I wouldn't, because I'd hate myself if I went to somebody's cubicle and did any of those things. But could you imagine, Murph, if the people that did it got it all back and got it all back in person? How many of these people would not their pants? You know what I mean? Like, if life,
that would be hysterical.
If karma was like immediate and it was like you got what you gave immediately, like how could these people function? That somebody that's like, oh, I don't care if my girl cheats on her man, I'm not cheating, that's her problem. And then like the guy falls in love with somebody 2 years later, she cheats on him, and somebody looks right in his face and goes, I don't care, ain't my lady. Like, I mean, I don't understand. I guess I don't understand it. I don't understand, because not only are people mean, like that used to happen all the time, but now people are mean and stupid. They're mean and dumb at the same time. And being mean and stupid means that they could say anything at any given time, and they're going to think they're right. And when facts prove them wrong, they're just going to yell louder. And
remember, there's one portion of this country that I think are literally allergic to facts. Quite literally. A lot of them have rainbow-colored hair.
Yeah, it seems to scare.
Just saying.
It seems to scare a lot of people, these factual things. But, I mean, it's just, what's the alternative? I'm nice, I'm consistent, I'm kind, I work hard, I'm impartial, I research. I had somebody ask me last week. They said, so when you say you like cover like college football, I was like, I cover the whole country. When I do my top 25, I'm up until 3 o'clock in the morning putting it all together, and I will literally spend an hour and a half on, should this team be 17th or 21st? And if they're 21st, and who do I move up or who do I move down? And I sent it to Murph a few days ago. Every single one of those top 25, if you could, we can even try it today if you want to. I mean, obviously things are going to change because we played games and this was before the games were played. But like, I can legitimately, you can give me any team on my list and you can say, why is this team above them? Why is this team below them? And I can argue it. That's how many hours I spent on this. I have to be able to argue it. Like, James Madison has one loss, but they haven't beaten anybody. And when I look at James Madison versus the American, I look at the American has had multiple teams ranked, either ranked now or were ranked, or they beat good teams. And so I look at that and I say, okay, this conference is stronger than the Sun Belt, which is why James Madison will always be below all of the teams that I have in the American unless they all implode for this season specifically. But I also look at James Madison the way I look at Michigan. They haven't beaten anybody. You realize that Michigan, people are trying to squeak them closer and closer and closer to playing in the college football playoff. Murph, they beat Purdue by 5. No, I'm sorry, 6, 21-15. They beat Purdue by 6. They beat Northwestern by 2. They beat bad teams barely. Like, they haven't played one ranked team except for Oklahoma. They lost by 11. Okay? And they haven't played a ranked team the rest of the whole year. They haven't played a ranked team.
They're trying to inch them closer for when they inevitably beat Ohio State.
Right, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the conversation. This is not like let's position people for when they can. What it is USC, Michigan, Illinois was in the top 25 this week. Illinois. They lost again, by the way. They lost to Wisconsin, who's awful. But, like, Illinois, what is Illinois? Like, what? Why? I guess I should be happy knowing that their jerseys look like Syracuse, except for it says Illinois on it. So I should be like, well, at least one team in orange and blue is ranked. But what is happening in this world right now but again, it's the Big Ten thing. It's Big Ten. That's what it is. It's the Big Ten part. You have to make Indiana's win over Illinois mean something, so you put them back in the rankings. You have to make Michigan be in the rankings and USC be in the rankings. They said, oh my gosh, Oregon beat USC. This is what they needed to prove that they should be in the college football play. They beat a team that's not good? Who's USC's wins over? Michigan. Who's Michigan beat? Nobody. And then USC beat Iowa, okay? And I consider that a good win. Kinda now. It's like, now. It's like quad 2-ish, 3. 2, maybe 2. But that's what it is. There's 4 good teams in the Big Ten out of 18. 4 out of 18. If that was the American, throw it away. If that was the ACC, they're having a down year. But if it's the Big Ten, they're good, Dan, I promise. Like, Ohio State's a good team, okay? They're a good team. Have they been challenged? No, but that's the conversation I think people don't understand because you have to expand your brain just a little bit more where we talk about, is this team a good team and have they been challenged? You can be a good team that hasn't been challenged, Indiana, or you can be a good team that has been challenged, Alabama. You know what they said, Murph? They said Oklahoma has the most top 25 wins this entire season. I was like, did they forget that Alabama's in the same conference? Alabama has 5. So, by the way, Oklahoma and Alabama, the win over Missouri should not be a top 25 because Missouri's not a top 25 team. I don't know what Missouri's doing. Missouri's like Illinois. They won't go away. They're not good, but like beating them is good.
I mean, I guess if we're being technical, then yes, that is an accurate statement because they have 6. Alabama's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Because they're not counting LSU.
4. Sorry, 4.
But at the time of play, I think they're talking at the time of play.
They're counting that. But you and I have talked about this a lot this year, and I'm starting to really agree with you about the whole college basketball model, and trying to think quad 1, quad 2, quad 3 wins.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, what each win meant. Now, obviously, Ohio State, with their win over Texas, looked much better at the beginning of the year than it does now. It's still a good win. Texas is still a good team. Like, they're definitely the best 3-loss team in the country. No question about that. I don't think there's anyone on this planet would disagree with me with that statement. And they're ranked as such. But when I also look ahead at the standings ahead of them, like, do I think Michigan's better than them? No. Do I think Utah's better than them? No. Do I think BYU's better than them? No. Do I think Vanderbilt's better than them? Probably not. Do I think Oklahoma's better than them? No. They blew them out.
Yeah.
They blew them out.
Yeah.
If Texas had 2 losses, Texas should still be ranked. And I also have another problem. How are you going to put Notre Dame over Miami?
Bring it!
Who won head-to-head?
Bring it! Bring it.
Miami beat them head-to-head. How are they not? If you put Notre Dame in the playoff over Miami,
hold on, Murph. Say it to the people in the back. Can you hear it?
Yes.
Can you hear it? Go ahead, Murph.
If they put Notre Dame in over Miami, if they put both in, fine. But if they put Notre Dame in over Miami,
they'll try to.
There will be hell to pay.
They'll try
because if Miami wins this week, assuming they don't go to the ACC championship, which they won't,
but if they
beat Pitt, which they should beat Pitt.
I don't know, Murph.
Don't sleep on them.
Yeah.
If they win, to me, they are a lock to be in the playoff because of Notre Dame. You either need to do both or neither. The college football playoffs set a precedent 2 years ago when they put in Texas and Alabama over Florida State.
Yeah.
They set a very dangerous precedent that if they do not follow that, there will be a massive uproar. And don't get me wrong, this is coming from a diehard Florida Gators fan who hates Miami. Hates Miami. But if you are going to tell me that you are going to put in Notre Dame over a team that beat them head-to-head and who has the same record,
yeah,
you want to give me that Miami's losses are worse? Fine. They had a couple of bad losses.
But Notre Dame
one really bad loss, another not so bad loss.
But Notre Dame lost to Notre Dame's best competition. They lost to anybody else, and we're like, oh, if that was Texas, if Texas lost to Texas A&M and Miami, they'd be talking about how Texas is done. So what are we talking about here? Okay, the eye test, Murph. Do you know how many times if you had a sip of your favorite,
you don't even need an eye test. They won head to head.
You think about this, Murph. If you had, this isn't the first time they've done it with Notre Dame, though, and I'll get to it in a second. But I'm saying this right now. If you took a sip of gin, vodka, whatever. If you took a sip of scotch, your favorite alcoholic.
Let's go with scotch. That's probably a better one.
So I knew we were going to go with scotch because it's Murph.
Either scotch or bourbon.
All right. So if every time somebody in the mainstream media said Notre Dame passes the eye test and you had to drink scotch, you'd be dead by 10 a.m.
Yes.
You would be dead. You'd be gone. It's over.
You would have drank so much that you would have had alcohol poisoning.
Right. It's like Taylor Swift talking about an ex. You can't drink with those games. So
no, you can't.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing. Okay. You bring up a point that I've been stating over and over and over again. Right.
I just want to reiterate it because it's true.
No, it is, and I love it. But I'm going to tell you, this isn't the first time. Okay. A few years ago, when it was the 14 playoff, Notre Dame played Cincinnati. This is the crazy thing. Cincinnati beat them. I don't care if they beat them by a half a point. They beat them by one. It's still in. But they didn't. They beat them by double digits. So let's just go with this. Cincinnati beat Notre Dame. That should be enough.
Wait a minute. Was that the year they made the playoff or the year before?
It was the year they made it.
Okay.
So Cincinnati beat Notre Dame. That should be enough. Beat them by double digits. Not in overtime. Nobody was injured, And they beat them on the road in South Bend. Do you know that there was people having conversations going, let's argue how Cincinnati doesn't get in over Notre Dame, even though Notre Dame lost to them head-to-head. And you know when Baylor lost? They said Cincinnati owes Baylor a thank you for allowing them to get in, because they were trying to get Notre Dame into this thing, and like all these other conferences had something to do with it.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Wasn't Cincinnati undefeated that year?
Yeah.
So how are you going to put a team with a worse record who loses head-to-head?
Because they passed
Look. If they were both the same record and they didn't play each other and whatever common opponents, whatever. You do what you do. But having the game against each other is absurd to not think about. Because what have I been beating the drum with for years and years and years about when it comes to the rankings? Who do you think would beat who head to head? And I've said that for years, right?
Yeah.
This goes for teams that haven't played each other. For teams that have played each other, you don't need an eye test. Yeah. The evidence was done on the field.
Yeah. Yeah.
I told you after Florida lost to South Florida that South Florida is not a better team than Florida. I do partially still believe that, but they won the game head-to-head. They should be ranked higher. That's the way it is.
And the committee still gives them credit for that win, because I was on the call a couple weeks ago and they said when South Florida was 24, they said they beat Boise State, they beat Florida. They valued that stuff. Notre Dame,
Why are we valuing those wins?
Right, but this is the second time, right? I agree with you. This is the second time, at least, if not more.
I'll say it, they both suck.
Right. But this is the second time that Notre Dame, at least the second time, that someone's tried to argue them over someone they lost to. Because the Cincinnati thing, I remember walking by the TV going, don't you friggin' dare. Don't you friggin' like, hand in your badge. Take off your media thing, hand it in. Because obviously you're a mole for Notre Dame or somebody.
The only way that you could make that argument is if that's Notre Dame's one and only loss, and the team that you're arguing against them has 2 losses. That is the only way that you could make that argument. If Texas was, or if I already lost my train. Who were we talking? Miami. If Miami still only had 1 loss, Miami would probably be the number 5 team in the country. Would be my guess, behind Georgia. They would still be ranked over Notre Dame. Let's just say the roles were reversed. Notre Dame's got 1 loss. Well, no, let's just say Notre Dame's got 1 loss.
Okay.
And let's say they ended up beating. Who else did they beat? Or who else? What was the other team they lost to?
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M. Let's say they beat Texas A&M, and they're 10-1.
Yeah.
And Miami's 9-2.
Right.
That I'll give you.
And Miami would have to have not good wins though. Also, we'd have to look at that too and say who didn't know? Like if Notre Dame's best wins over Pitt and Miami,
technically their best win would be over Texas A&M in that scenario.
Right, in that scenario. But then you'd have to look at Miami and say, okay, who did Miami beat? Who did they lose to? That type of stuff. But you have the same record, and people were literally talking about at what point does this matter? Like
people were ranking Oklahoma over Texas with the same record, and Oklahoma got blown out.
Right. It's
not like Notre Dame lost by 20. They lost by like 3.
And you know who has the same? Who has the same record?
But Oklahoma got blown out.
Who has the same record as Notre Dame right now?
Oklahoma
and Alabama, and Alabama's beaten 4.
Everybody.
4. Technically, they've beaten 5. I don't agree with the Missouri thing, but with them being ranked. But technically,
if we're being technical, yes.
Technically, they beat 4 ranked teams in a row, 5 in 6 games, and they lost to Oklahoma by 2. So by Notre Dame rules, you only lost by a couple, which means you won. And because what are we talking about here? Notre Dame's best argument this year is that they almost beat 2 good teams. That's their best argument. Their best argument is that they lost, but not by much. Because the 2 best teams they played, they lost to. What are we talking about? Oklahoma
Who do they play this week?
Notre Dame plays Stanford, who's also 3-1.
Stinks.
Yeah, okay. So you look at Notre Dame's schedule. They always beat Navy. Stanford is well below 500. Syracuse is one of the worst teams in the nation. That's my hometown, but impartial broadcaster, hello. So, Notre Dame, well, you can't fault the team for playing the schedule that they make ahead of time. When it comes to the college football playoff, yes, you most certainly can. Yes, you most certainly can, okay? Because when Memphis goes 12-0 and they beat UCLA, what do people say? UCLA is not good. They beat Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's not good. They beat everybody in the American. The American's not good. The American's not the same. So you don't give them anything. So what are we talking about here? You can't just beat the teams because people say the teams that are in the top 3 are in the top 3 because they're undefeated. Ohio State has 1 quality win. Indiana has 2 quality wins. Texas A&M has 2, maybe ish, 2, 1.5. So like
they got so lucky with their
right.
SEC schedule.
But what are we saying? What are we saying? Do we really think that Oklahoma, Alabama, and Georgia are worse than Texas A&M, Indiana, and Ohio State? Like, are we really saying that these teams can't match up and beat these other teams? And where does Notre Dame fall in all that? The problem is with this, folks, okay? Criteria, this is my criteria. Win all your games. That's number 1, because you can control that. So win all your games. Then look at the teams you beat. Look at where they are at the end of the season. Not in the beginning of the season when people are passing the eye test when no games have been played. So apparently Stevie Wonder's passing that one. But when we look at this stuff, I love you, Stevie. I'm just making a note on people not being able to see things. Although people do joke that Stevie Wonder can actually see, and he's been getting us this whole time because he was waved at by Lady Gaga and he waved back. But that's a story for a different day.
Somebody could have whispered it in his ear.
Yeah, I love Stevie. But again, I'm not making fun of people that can't see. I'm just making an analogy, so please don't get weird. But here's the thing. Win all your games. Criteria 1. Criteria 2. Who did you beat? Where are they ranked at the end of the season? Who did they beat? Okay? That's what you look to. You look to, did they win their games? Who did they play? Who did they beat? If they lost, who did they lose to? By how much? But quality losses, that's way down the friggin' thing. That's way down here. Okay? I want to, who did you beat? Who did you play? How did they do? How did they end the season? That's what you look at. Alabama's had arguably the toughest schedule in the nation. You look at Alabama.
Not arguably. It's the toughest schedule in the nation.
Okay? And Notre Dame's had this cupcake just crap shoot of, we play, And what do they keep saying? Dan, they've been on a tear.
Against who?
They've won 9 games in a row.
Against who?
But think about the argument they're making, Murph. With other teams, they say, well, you lost to that team. That's a problem, right? What are they saying about Alabama? Alabama lost in the first week to Florida State. So what do they say every week? Well, they're good, but they lost to Florida State. What do they say about Notre Dame?
It's a bad loss.
What do they say about Notre Dame?
Nobody's sugarcoating it. It's a bad loss.
But what do they say about Notre Dame? Don't worry about the first 2 weeks. They won 9 in a row. So, you know what? Think about it. If you're going to make an argument for one, you got to make the argument for both, or you can't make the argument because you're going to get called out on it. You can't say Notre Dame's been on a tear. Who cares about the first 2 weeks? That was early on in the season. That's when teams are getting to know each other. They have a new quarterback. They're trying to figure things out. They don't know. They can't help themselves. Everybody's growing. But they went and won 9 in a row since then. Okay, so Alabama lost their first game, not their first 2, and they went on an 8-game tear, and then they struggled against an Oklahoma team by 2, and then they keep rocking and rolling. So what are we saying here? We're saying you can't fault Notre Dame for losing 2 games because they've won every game since, even though those 2 games were meaningful games, and these other were, not say meaningful. Those were against ranked teams that are still ranked to this day, where the other teams, most of them are not ranked, have not been ranked all season, arguably. So Notre Dame gets credit for winning a bunch of games, and we should forgive September. But Alabama is paying the price of week 1 when they played the toughest schedule in the country. All I'm asking people is to look at what you're saying. If you say Notre Dame can't be faulted for week 1 and 2, then why are you faulting Alabama for week 1? And if you say that Notre Dame passes the eye test because they won 9 in a row, then what in the ass are you saying about Alabama, who played better teams and beat them? They beat Georgia at Georgia. Like, what are we talking about here? You think Notre Dame has a better win than against Georgia? You think, Texas is still relevant because they beat Oklahoma. Oklahoma's relevant because they beat Alabama. Alabama's relevant because they beat Georgia. Georgia's relevant because they've beaten everybody except for one team. When you look at what's going on here, Ole Miss played an easy schedule in the SEC, and so did Texas A&M. Texas A&M played the easiest of the ones that are ranked, then Ole Miss, and then Texas played a tough schedule. They got to play Texas A&M still. So If Texas beats Texas A&M and Texas ends the season with 3 losses, and you had Texas A&M up in the top 3 for how many weeks now? Texas is a more viable team than Notre Dame. They have 1 more loss and a crap ton better wins. So, I mean, if we're not going to talk about what actually happened on the field, and we're just going to put in the logos we like, then they shouldn't play games more, Murph. They shouldn't have to play games anymore. Because it's not about who you like. Okay, if that was the case in baseball, then they would have the Red Sox and the Yankees and the Dodgers every year. The Phillies every year. Just because every year. You got to win. You got to win. Who had the Blue Jays? Me? And I was freaking a slide, like a toe to home base. I was going to be right. A little friggin' toe, and I would have been right in that one. But how many people rolled with me on Game 7 with the Blue Jays, even thought they were going to get there? So, I don't understand this Notre Dame thing.
I still think they should have won that series, but that's, conversation for another day. Can I just say something real quick about the whole Notre Dame-Syracuse thing?
Yeah.
With that game?
Horrible game.
Yes.
Worst. Just so bad. It's not the worst game that Syracuse has ever lost. It may be by the amount of points, but say what you're going to say, and I will one-up this game and tell you the worst loss I have lived through for Syracuse.
So, people need to understand something. Syracuse is on their 3rd quarterback, who, correct me if I'm wrong, is a freshman.
They're on their 4th. Yeah, they're on their 4th, but yeah.
They're on their 4th quarterback. Okay. They're on their 4th quarterback.
Yeah.
Of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to win games when you have to play 4 quarterbacks? Kyle Shanahan?
He's a lacrosse.
That's about it.
Joe Filardi is a lacrosse player who is a walk-on the football team with a full scholarship to play lacrosse at Syracuse.
He's not even a damn football player. Can we cool it on the whole, this team should be better, yada, yada, yada? You're on QB4, who's not even a football player, and you're playing Notre Dame. Who we still, for all the faults that we've been saying, they are still a good football team.
I definitely thought they were going to beat Syracuse without
we all knew they were going to beat Syracuse. It was a question of how much.
Yeah, without
Steven. I was shocked sitting down at the bar and seeing that it was 49-0 at halftime.
It was 20. It was 28-0.
Wasn't it 35-0 after the first quarter?
It was 28-0 in less than 9 minutes into the game. There was over 6 minutes left in the first quarter. Okay, but this offense can't move, or it doesn't move. I shouldn't say it can't. It doesn't. But here's the thing, Murph. I went into this game, Papa Joe and I, people can go back and watch the tape, we both said they were going to lose by 40. Before I turned the game on, my brain saw 70 for Notre Dame. So I was right about 70, and I said they would lose by at least 40, and they were down 49-0 at halftime. And it took 37 seconds for Notre Dame to score in the second half. So if you thought, okay, they're going to halftime and they're going to they're going to come out with a different fire. If you watch them on an interception that was actually called back because there's a roughing the passer, if you watch the offense and how they were tackling, it literally looked like a movie. It looked like a bunch of stunt people. It was like, okay, he's going to run by me and I missed him. I missed him. Like, it honestly, this team doesn't look like they care anymore. They're tackling. It was like if they wanted to tackle the guy, they would have tackled the guy. But they didn't tackle the guy. Now, and it honestly looked like I'm going to make it look like I tried when I'm not trying. I'm going to do everything I possibly. If you watch Big Brother when they say they throw a competition, that's what it looked like. It looked like I'm going to make you think that I tried really hard, but in actuality, I didn't. It's like I'm jumping toward you, and I know, okay, if I jump now, I'm going to just miss him. Because but they didn't fool me. I mean, this team, I have been told things, and I keep them to myself, because unless I can corroborate the story, I'm not going to whatever. But I'm seeing things on the field that
kind of line up with some things that I heard. And this team doesn't care anymore. This team, this team is checked out. They've checked out.
They've quit on Fran at this point.
And I'm going to tell you this right now, Murph. Okay, if you told me to put down on a sheet of paper right now who I think is leaving, there are names on that paper that Syracuse fans are not going to want to see. And there are names on that paper I don't even have to think about. My prediction. Not them telling me, my prediction. Now, there's people that have said, oh, I'm staying.
Doesn't mean they're actually staying. What has Lane Kiffin been saying about his...
What does Lane Kiffin say about everything? How do you...
What has he been saying about this?
Yeah.
He's definitely leaving. Where? I don't know. And hopefully by this time next week, he's the next Gators head coach, and I am ecstatic. But he's not saying a word. Of course he's not going to say a word. Yeah. Why would he say a word? Honestly. And I will say this, with what's going on with that program right now, I am genuinely worried for Fran and his job. Because if you got players that are completely checking out, it says something about what's going on in the locker room, what's happening between the coaching staff and the players. There is an issue there. Now, based on what I've seen, and obviously you covered the team, I only just watch games, see highlights, and hear what you tell me. I am genuinely concerned for a guy and his job who just came off one of the best seasons in Syracuse football history.
Easy schedule. Not trying to take it away from him, but somebody asked me going into the season, they said, how does Syracuse repeat what they did last year? I said, don't play this schedule. I said, there's no way healthy they were going to go 10-3. There's no way.
No, and you weren't expecting them to go 10-3.
No,
but
I was expecting them to go 7-5, 8-4. I had 7-5, 8-4. I thought 8-4 could happen if they were healthy. If Steve Angeli, who was leading the country, folks, in passing yards, he was leading the entire nation in passing yards when he went out. Do you know that they haven't won a game that Steve Angeli hasn't played in? They have not won a game. Now, it's not just him, because the defense looks, again, there's a difference between, there's been multiple games since Angeli got hurt where the defense has looked good and they haven't gotten the credit for it. There has been multiple games where the defense looked like they gave it. Like at Miami, they didn't allow Miami a single score for over 27 minutes. Until 2:13 left in the game did they allow a score. And one of those two scores that happened before halftime was not their fault. It was an offensive blunder that led to a defensive touchdown for Miami. So they gave up one touchdown to Miami in 30 minutes, that defense. And then you come out and you get blown out by Miami and they go, oh, this defense sucks. No, the defense is on the field the whole friggin' game. This has happened to Syracuse before, where their defense, I've literally, with my own eyes, watched and covered Syracuse football in recent history, where the defense, under Dino Babers, the defense gave and gave and gave and gave and gave and gave and gave, and the offense did absolutely nothing. The defense got multiple turnovers and you lose a game. They got a fumble recovery. They forced this fumble. They stopped this team. They got a bunch of turnover on downs. They made a bunch of 3-and-outs happen. They forced it. I've sat through games where they forced a team to punt over over and over and over and over again, but the offense couldn't score. It doesn't mean anything. When you force a team to punt the ball and you can't move the ball and it's 3-and-out to 3-and-out, it's 3-and-out to interception, 3-and-out to fumble. That's what this defense is dealing with. But I think that this team has completely given up because the defense had good moments. They're not having good moments anymore. This team looked like, we don't even want to be here. We don't even want to play. Let's get this stupid thing over with. That's what I saw from Syracuse against Notre Dame. I saw a team that was like, listen, screw this crap. That's what I saw. I'm not saying that's what the guys told me, and I'm close with a ton of the guys on this team. And if I'm not close to somebody, it's probably because I didn't meet them yet. But I've built relationships with Syracuse football for God knows how many years at this point. So what I see now is I see a team that there is no leadership. There is no rhyme or reason. There is no focus. There is no desire. I said this weeks ago. I said, if this is how you're going to play North Carolina, if this is what you're going to put on the field, then respect the fans and respect the other teams and just tell them you're not playing. And I'm not telling you quit on somebody or anything like that. I'm saying if this is the garbage you're going to put on the field, have the decency to let Notre Dame go do something else for 3 hours. Go let them go pick apples or something. Don't bother BC and make them have to come in 2 days after Thanksgiving. Let them sit at home with their family on Thanksgiving. Let them spend some more time at home that weekend and don't waste their time. What I'm saying is, I'm not saying quit. I'm not saying don't show up. I'm saying if this is how you decide to play, you're not playing football. You're going through the motions. And I don't think people should stay in relationships that are going through the motions. I don't think people should be in lame duck. Like, if Lane Kiffin intends to leave Ole Miss, then, and if he's doing all this crap right now, and anybody that's followed Lane Kiffin knows that drama follows him everywhere he goes. And it doesn't look like he fights it. So, I mean, Lane's going to do what he wants to do, and he's a good coach. Okay? But this is if I'm Lane Kiffin right now, I got a top 10 team in the country. I got the college football playoff coming up. If I don't want my team to quit on me, and I don't want my team to be like Syracuse to go through the motions right now, I'm not dealing. This is my response to everything. Hi, I'm Lane Kiffin, and I'm not talking about the end of the season. Hi, I'm Lane Kiffin, and I appreciate everybody that wants to hire me, but I'm not talking about it until this is done. I have something to follow. If you're a true leader, and I'm not calling out Lane, I'm saying this about anybody. If you're a true leader, you take this year and you make it clear. I am an Ole Miss Rebel. I am for the Ole Miss Rebels. I am leading the Ole Miss Rebels. These parents trusted me with their children. And we are in a place right now where we can make history as an institution. Not only have I dedicated myself to them and promised these kids that I would be here, but not only am I a coach that's coaching and I have more games to play, but I'm a coach that's probably going to be in the college football playoff. We have a national championship opportunity. We have a 0.000000000000001% in our favor right now because of the work that we've done. I'm not going to do a disservice to this school, to the people here, to my assistant coaches, to the families of the student athletes or the student athletes by talking about, discussing, or having any connection to anything else. The media wants to talk about it, that's fine. The media blows smoke up our butts sometimes. But I'm going to sit here, I'm going to coach the Ole Miss Rebels, I'm going to focus on the Ole Miss Rebels because we have something that we need to do this year, and it doesn't matter about next year. Okay? Because if I tell people where I'm going to play where I'm going to coach next year and it's not Ole Miss, now all of a sudden I've blown up something and I've now screwed over my own team. I've now crapped on my own team. And I'd be very careful if I'm LSU or Florida or anybody that's trying to hire Lane Kiffin, if he makes a decision publicly while he's still coaching this year with a team that has an opportunity to win a national championship. If he says this is where I'm going to be 3 months from now, then he's not focused on right now. And that's not okay. None of that's okay. None of this situation's okay because he needs to have a press conference when this season's over and Ole Miss has lost because they weren't the better team that day. But if he does anything between now and the college football playoff, he's spitting on his own team, and I don't respect that. If anybody did that. And I'd love to get your thoughts on that because my opinion is make your money, do your thing. Good for you, Lane. But we're not even talking about you're a coach with another game to play. We're talking about you're a coach who's going to be one of 12 in the thing that everybody wants to be in, dancing at the ball that everybody wants to get a ticket for. So if I'm Lane Kiffin, I'm showing the entire world that I have no loyalty if I make a public decision between now and the last game that we play. That needs to be made after that.
Totally agree. It's one of those things with him where, he's a desirable coach. Like, there's 2 really good jobs open right now and then 2 programs that really want him. He absolutely shouldn't be making a decision anytime soon. He has denied the fact that Ole Miss gave him an ultimatum. I don't know whether it's true or not because it sounds like their ultimatum is they need to know what his plan is after next weekend's game against Mississippi State. Is that going to, be that he's staying, that he's going, whatever the case may be? We don't know. Will that be announced publicly? Selfishly, I hope so, but, from a college football perspective and from the program's perspective, it shouldn't be announced publicly.
Yeah.
If I'm Lane Kiffin, I just want to coach my team. Whatever happens, happens. If you're leaving, you're leaving. Tell the kids, tell the staff, tell Ole Miss staff. Doesn't need to be public. You want to tell the kids, hey, I just want to give you guys, full transparency. I'm leaving to take this job after this season. We still got work to do. Let's go win a national championship. If that's the case, kids will still be with him. They'll have his back. He'll probably get some of the guys to come with him, I would think, if he does it that way. But you're right. It's not something that should be made public yet. This should not be. Now, if they miss the college football playoff, if they lose to Mississippi State and then they, don't make the playoff, then you want to say something before the bowl game, fine. Because honestly, coaches have announced they're leaving before a bowl game. It's not uncommon, partly because the bowl games in this day and age don't mean what they used to.
Yeah.
So they're not as important to these players and these coaches anymore. So if that happens, then sure, we'll find out. If not, and they win, and then they go to the SEC championship, I think they would play. Would they be in the SEC championship? Because I think they have the tiebreaker over Alabama right now, right?
Are we talking about Ole Miss?
Yeah.
So if Ole Miss goes, I'll take a look.
Or would it be Texas A&M and Georgia?
Right now, it's Texas A&M and Georgia.
Okay.
Because Texas A&M has 7 wins in the Texas A&M and Georgia both have 7 wins in the conference. Ole Miss has 6.
And then Ole Miss plays their 7th. If they win, they would have their 7th conference win because of Mississippi State.
Right.
So they'd be 7-1 as well. I don't know how their tiebreaker works. I don't. Not anymore, at least, because SEC East, SEC West. It was easy. It was basically the winner of the Iron Bowl. Also, if the winner of that game beat LSU or whatnot.
Yeah.
And then the winner of the Florida Georgia game. Essentially, that was your SEC championship.
So you want to know, this is the tiebreaker. Not to interrupt you, but you asked.
No, I would like to know.
So Ole Miss reaches the SEC championship if they beat Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl, Texas beats Texas A&M, and Auburn beats Alabama. Now, Texas,
so they need a lot to happen.
Yeah, Texas A&M gets in if they beat Texas, or if Auburn beats Alabama, Mississippi State beats Ole Miss. Alabama gets in if they beat Auburn and Texas beats Texas A&M. So those two things have to happen. Or they beat Auburn, Mississippi State beats Ole Miss, or they beat Auburn, Alabama wins a 3-way tie with Ole Miss / Georgia based on SEC opponent winning percentage. So they would actually be above Georgia, which is crazy. Well, actually, no. Well, yeah, because they beat Georgia. So they would win it over winning percentage. And then Georgia reaches if Auburn beats Alabama. So Georgia didn't even have to win. If Auburn beats Alabama, they get in. Or if Texas...
Well, Georgia's done with SEC play because now they play Georgia Tech.
Right. They're 7-1.
Now you have rivalry week. So you have the Iron Bowl, you have the Egg Bowl, you got Florida State, you got Georgia Tech, Georgia.
Yeah.
South Carolina, Clemson.
So they get in if Auburn beats Alabama or if Texas beats Texas A&M. And then they also can get in if Ole Miss beats Mississippi State. Georgia will win a 3-way tie with Alabama and Ole Miss based on any SEC opponent winning percentage. So Georgia's got a nice road here, and they've already finished up, like you said, SEC play. Texas A&M's got an easy road. Texas A&M wins, they're in. Auburn beats Alabama or Texas beats Texas A&M, Georgia's in. Or if Ole Miss beats Mississippi State, then you got the 3-way tie. Ole Miss needs they have to win, and that they have to hope that Auburn beats Alabama.
So they need help.
Yeah, they need Texas.
They need a lot of help.
They need 2 underdogs to win, and they have to win.
Yeah. I mean, I don't doubt that they can win the Egg Bowl. It's just a matter of what else happens. Now, if they lose, obviously they would not be in the SEC championship. I don't see them making the playoff. I don't. Based on their schedule.
Yeah.
Based on who their losses are to, I don't see them making the playoff with 2 losses.
Well, and Sharon,
I really don't.
Georgia,
I would put Texas in over them if that was the case.
Well, if Texas beats Texas A&M, absolutely. Now, Georgia State.
Oh well, yeah, that's true.
So we look at this to go to Ole Miss's schedule, which has been an easier schedule than most in the SEC. They beat unranked Georgia State, beat unranked Kentucky on the road, beat unranked Arkansas, beat unranked Tulane. They blew out Tulane, and that's one of Tulane's blemishes.
Tulane's not unranked now.
So that's actually a ranked win now. And then they beat LSU. That was a ranked win, so it's not. So Tulane, 2 teams in Louisiana, one takes the place of the other. So Tulane's ranked now. They beat Washington State, who's unranked. They lost to Georgia 43-35 on the road. So if that's Notre Dame, that's considered a good loss. Then they beat Oklahoma 34-26 on the road. So that's a good win for Ole Miss. They beat South Carolina, who's unranked. They beat the Citadel, who's unranked. And they beat Florida, who's unranked. So their ranked wins this season are 2, at the time now, are Tulane and Oklahoma for Ole Miss. And the Mississippi State's unranked. So, I mean, I would agree with you. If they don't make the SEC title game and they have losses.
If they that's assuming.
If they do make the SEC title game. Well.
If they lose this week,
if they lose to Mississippi State, then no. But if they make it to the SEC title game, and the worst they can be is
if they make it to the SEC championship, I would personally say they'd still be in.
Yeah, because they'll be 11. They'll be 11-2, and they'll be the runner up in the SEC title game. Then, in my opinion, so they're definitely in.
If that's the case, yes. Yeah. They need a lot of help to get there.
The only way for Ole Miss to be out of the college football playoff is to lose to Mississippi State.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to happen. I think they'll be in there, and it's one of those things where, like I said, and obviously I've seen some more rumors about this than most, following the situation because I want him to be our next head coach at Florida. Yeah. So I know a little more about the situation than, the average college football fan. But it sounds to me like if he's leaving, that Ole Miss does not want him coaching in the playoff, which is bizarre to me.
Yeah,
if that's the case, that is shocking.
Well, it sounds like if he says he's leaving, they don't want him to be a part of anything. SEC title game, think about that. Think about that, okay? Because when Mike Norvell led Memphis to their championship in the American over UCF, I was at the game. And Memphis hosted, it was over Cincinnati. My apologies. It was over Cincinnati in the Liberty Bowl. And I was there in Memphis. I was sitting front row interviewing Mike Norvell, and he left shortly after. And they did not have him coach in the game against Penn State in the bowl game. And I argued...
That makes sense. Yeah. That's understandable.
Yeah. But I would argue that if he was there to actually coach that game, because, it's one person, what does it mean, Dan? He's not a player. Look at every team that doesn't have their head coach in a winning program, and they lose that coach, and what typically happens, how many of those teams win. I think that would have been a game against Penn State. But when he left, it just looks like a blemish. Like, look at the American, how much they suck. It's like, he didn't coach against James Franklin. He left to go to Florida State. But if Ole Miss, to that argument, to my whole purpose of bringing this up, if Ole Miss goes, Lane, you're leaving, so leave now,
that's foolish.
Ole Miss is not going to arguably win the SEC championship, and they're not going to win the college football playoff. They could lose in the first week because not having your head coach can do a lot of things to your locker room. Look at Penn State right now with Terry. Look at what they're doing with him. They want him to be hired as the coach. They had signs up. They had all this stuff. By the way, let me just get this out here. Penn State, you're not playing great teams. You're not playing ranked teams. but I want to give you some credit and some love for doing what you did this past week. That was a hell of a win for an assistant coach. And like,
blowout.
But like to do what they did, for the fans to show up, for them to get behind their coach and to be holding up signs saying that he needs to be hired. And I love what Terry said. I love what he said. He stood there in the post game on the field and he said, "This is my team." And I was like, chills. When he said that, it was like Penn State, take this from my friggin' hands. Like, yeah, okay, you're going to go find big name people and you're going to interview all these people. But to see the team get behind him, the fans get behind him, and for him to say at the end of it, he didn't even mince words or let somebody else say it. He said, "This is my team. They listen to me. They listen to me." I was just like, damn, Terry. Frig, I would have hired you sooner and been like, "All right, James, do your thing, boo." But like, and I don't have any disrespect for James Franklin, but let me just say this.
New head coach at Virginia Tech, by the way.
Yeah. Let me just make this clear. Okay? Did Penn State have any reason to be ranked in the top 25 this year? No. Did they have any reason to be in the top 10? No. Did they have any reason to be in the top 5? No. Did they have any reason to be in the top 3? No. And for those of you that haven't apologized to me, my email is dtstays@gmail.com. But that was a hell of a win by Penn State, and I loved everything about that win. So I just want to say, in a team that did not, obviously
they beat a good team too. Nebraska is a good team.
Nebraska's been ranked this year. Matt Rule's doing good things. He's been up for potential coaching jobs, including Penn State, allegedly. So I just wanted to say, from my heart to yours, Penn State fans, to their coaching staff and to their players, as well as not having their starting quarterback at Drew Aller, I just wanted to say that was a hell of a win and a hell of a way to be ending your season, and it gives me hope for your future. So I just wanted to show some love for the Nittany Lions.
He deserves at least an interview. At worst, he at least deserves an interview.
1,000,000%.
Do I think he'd be handed the job next year? No, probably not. They're still going to go through a very extensive interview process.
Yeah.
But I think he's at least earned an interview.
Oh yeah.
With how he has coached this team.
100%.
Yeah. But so going back to Lane Kiffin, like I feel like Ole Miss is foolish if they don't want him to, coach their team at that point. Look, the players and the coaches will understand. They get it. It's a business.
Yeah.
Right? This is, where his family, he's got to think of himself, think of his family. They will understand. But they will gain even more respect for him if he says, "Look, I want to let you guys know I'm leaving. I'm going to coach wherever, whether it's LSU or Florida or some mystery team that we haven't heard of yet."
Syracuse.
I'm
just kidding.
Penn State.
I'm just kidding. Please, people don't get
wherever
weird.
he's going. He says, "I'm going to coach wherever."
Yeah.
Our job is not finished.
Yeah.
I came here to win a national championship.
100%.
I still intend to do that. If we can go out of here national champions, that would be incredible. So let's go do it.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, each and every one of those players would buy in, would respect him for saying it, and keeping it private. If we don't hear anything by next Sunday, then that is the answer to what we're seeing.
Yeah.
As I firmly believe it, because we've been hearing that next Sunday, that's when we're going to find out our answer. I would love to find out, but at the same time, it should not come out. I want, especially if he is going to be our head coach next year, I can wait a couple more weeks.
Yeah.
I can wait a couple more weeks and would respect the hell out of him if he goes in there and says, "Look, I'm leaving. I want to win a national championship with you guys. Let's go do it."
Yeah.
And he goes, even if they don't win, let's just say they win a game. They win their first 2 games. They lose in the semifinal. And then, they let the dust settle. Next day he announces he's leaving.
Yeah.
Everyone would respect him for that. Everybody would. Now, he's been dodging the question, as he should be. Right? He was on McAfee. He denied all the press stuff that's been coming out. Again, as he should.
Right.
But I can wait. If it's not Florida, it's not Florida. If he goes to LSU, fine, whatever. But especially if he's coming to Florida, I could wait a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I could wait It would be a great Christmas present.
Yeah.
Late Christmas present, most likely. It would be. And I'd be thrilled. I will have been a little bit, annoyed that it took as long as. And look, this is coming from a fan that wants him. Believe me, I want to know. But we don't need to know yet. I can wait a little bit longer. Especially if he's coming, I can wait. Lane, go do your thing with Ole Miss. We'll worry about it after the year.
Yeah.
If you've already committed to the job, I don't need to know yet. I could find out in a few weeks. It's not a big deal. Do I want to know? Yeah, but I don't need to know. Go win a national championship before you leave.
Well, you know
I would hope that means you're still coming,
right.
but go win a national championship before you leave.
But think about this, okay? You don't go on to the next assignment until you finish your job. You finish your job.
Now, if they fire him, that's a different story.
Right. But
if they say, look, we don't want you any. If you're leaving, we don't want you anymore. You're fired.
And you know what I'm telling you right now?
That's different.
If Ole Miss does that, then it's it's personal, and they will lose in the college football playoff. If they don't lose in the SEC
championship, they will get blown out in the college football playoff.
Again,
assuming they're the 5 seed, whoever I don't care if it. I honestly think if it's, let's say it's North Texas. North Texas could beat them.
Or Tulane, yeah.
Or Tulane.
Yeah.
Or James Madison. Or Navy. Whoever it is. Honestly.
Yeah.
Because that Ole Miss team would be totally different. I guarantee you there'd be guys going into the portal because of it. Guaranteed. Whether they're following him or not. They would say, hey, if this program's quitting on our coach just because he's leaving after the year, why do I want to be a part of this program?
I'm telling you right now, teams that don't have their coach, that have good seasons, don't typically win. Go look. Go look at the coach that coaches the bowl game. Whatever coordinator they have do it. They typically don't win. Remember when Syracuse, when they said goodbye to Dino and they fired him and they made it to a bowl game, they got blown the hell out by South Florida and Boca Raton. And I mean, it's a typical thing. I think this is the perfect scenario if he leaves. Don't report it. Don't discuss it. If you're Lane, say, hey, the money's going to be there. Like if Florida, let's just say for argument's sake, if Florida and LSU are trying to strong arm Lane, going, hey, this is an exploding offer. All right? This is you are Tom Cruise, and this is Mission Impossible. And 7 seconds from now, we're going to blow up this money. No, you're not. Okay? You want me as a coach. I got one of the top 6 teams in the nation. I'm probably going to be in the college football playoff if I don't lose to Mississippi State. And I'm probably going to get a home game in the first round. Okay? So, whatever Florida and LSU are saying, well, we're going to pass on you. Yeah, okay. Then I'll go to Ole Miss and I'll ask for more money.
Why would they not want him to coach those games?
Right, exactly. Because it
would speak to the character of the coach.
Right, and it makes you look better. So my thing is, Lane as a leader, you're coaching through the rest of the season. You don't start another job till you finish with this one. Second thing, and it also shows your loyalty, and it shows the players' loyalty in a world where coaches and players have not been loyal in collegiate athletics in a lot of ways. Also, just so you understand this, folks, if you think that I'm wrong and you think that this team would win without Lane, remember that these players can sit out and they can transfer. So if Lane decides to leave, you're not going to have a full-go Ole Miss team. You're going to have people that check out. You're going to have people that don't want to play. You're going to have people that want to jump into the portal. So Lane, best case scenario, if he's leaving, is to stay, to finish, to work to make history. And why would you not want to see the fruit of your labor going through this entire season? But before we take a step aside for a fast break inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, let me tell you something. If Lane wants to be dirty and he wants to be nasty, and this is an ugly divorce from Ole Miss, have your press conference. Last thing you say, lean into the mic and say, portal's open. We'll be right back. And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. You know, we want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to a Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I mean, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. I mean, you can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, you know, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, you know, everyone in the world is going to sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, you know, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place. And I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. A delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing, you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Kaz location and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point, because you get a little something different at each one. You know, we understand how hard it is to, you know, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
Located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in James. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. Canine Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that Canine Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making Canine Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry loving friend. Right, Lily? Avicoli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicollis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on into the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. Canine Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. Canine Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to caninecampground.com as well. That's KAMP ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. Canine Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose Canine Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily? Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here, hanging out with us inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. I'm here with Murphalation Station for the Nation. We're hanging out here in these Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York for sales and service. They're open Monday through Saturday. You can get a sneak peek of all of their inventory, including their end of the year sales, by going to GreatLakesHondaCity.com. And why wouldn't you? If you've waited this long to get your next vehicle or your first vehicle, now's a perfect time. Get it before the snow. Honda, love it in the snow. My CRV, listen, when you live in the Northeast, if you're not buying it, like if you got multiple cars in your driveway and one of them is not a Honda CRV, you ain't doing it right. So that's just in my opinion. But you definitely need to get over there. I thank them. I thank the Honda company because getting hit by a drunk driver back in, I think it was 2004 or 5, the way that the Honda was built arguably saved my life and or prevented me from being paralyzed. And so I have to thank Honda for how they built their vehicles. I have to thank Honda for the safety that I have felt. And I just want to give them a big time shout out because I've trusted them for many years and I only go to Great Lakes Honda City. So here on the show, we put our money where our mouth is. So when I say we trust this place, then we trust that place. And just so you know, if you want to know what places we trust, Great Lakes Honda City, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Brakes, Myers Creek, 2 locations, 33 Rippleton Road and Cazenovia. Got to bring Murph out there. Out on the countryside.
Next time I'm up there for sure.
Bro, you're going to want to live there. 720 Van Rensselaer Street in Syracuse Inner Harbor, where we'll have Wake Up Call Game Day this next week. Please show up, okay? Because it's not Wake Up Call Game Day's fault that Syracuse lost 70-7. So show up for the BC game. At least we can have some good food and drinks together. We can smile and be merry. Consider it like an extended Thanksgiving because we're going to do it 2 days after. Big time shout out to Chick-fil-A Cicero, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world. They got Black Friday deals coming up at Ma and Pa's. You don't want to miss that. Your taste buds are going to love it. I mean, yeah, you can stand, in the snow or rain or whatever at 3 o'clock in the morning to get a camera, or you can go to Ma and Pa's and have like the greatest flavors to ever hit your mouth. So Ma and Pa's, 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Go and see them on Black Friday and all throughout the week and all throughout the year. Pizza Man, Chick-fil-A DeWitt, Mother's Cupboard, the home of my sandwich. When you need to refuel on Black Friday from 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m., go get a Cuse McMother, and you can make sure that your body has what it needs to keep going out and crashing carts against people. I'm kidding. Don't crash carts. Don't do that, okay? And don't send your pregnant wife into Target. You go into Target. So, we got to think about, we got to game plan a little bit more. By the way, what is Black Friday when on Thursday, on Thanksgiving, they're like, hey, we're opening at 4 o'clock. People are eating with their families. If you leave your family to go buy a PlayStation 5, I don't want to be your friend, okay? I just don't. No
you
offense.
could do it right now. They're already on sale. I just bought a new one.
There you go. But no offense to PlayStation. I'm just saying. I'm saying if you leave your family on Turkey Day, by the way, cannot wait to hear the political conversations at your family's table. Go to Mother's Cupboard, though, 3709 James Street in Syracuse, New York. So, Game Point Sports Complex, just don't invite those people. I'm kidding. Canine Camp Dogs Take Care, Brian's Landing, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Avicoli's. I'm kidding. We need to sit around the table and have differing views. It makes us better. And then OCC, Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, and Binghamton University are exclusive studio partners. We thank them all. So much appreciation. Murph, what are you doing for Thanksgiving? And do you have people that sit around your table that believe differently than you or no?
We don't. Fortunately, we all pretty much believe the same thing.
Okay.
So there's really no, debate ever going on.
Right.
But no, I'll be down in Jersey. I'm actually going down tomorrow, and I will be in Jersey through Sunday.
Nice.
So I've got, we got Thanksgiving, obviously. I'll be down there. I'm doing a fitting in Princeton tomorrow at 4, and then I'm driving straight to the house down there just because it's 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing Wednesday. I might try to go play golf somewhere. Haven't figured that part out yet, But Thursday morning, I think we're doing breakfast at our house.
Okay. With
my brother and my sister, because my sister and my brother-in-law they won't be with us for Thanksgiving. They're going to my brother-in-law's family. So we're doing breakfast at our house with all of them. I think my dad, myself, my brother, and my brother-in-law, we're all going to go play golf at the short course.
Okay.
And then later in the day, we'll be going over to my brother's for dinner. Watch some football, drink some beers. I'll probably have to bring the beers because I know my brother is typically a liquor guy, so he's going to have a lot of. I might indulge in a Jameson or something.
Hey, Murph, They just said
I don't do much hard liquor. I really don't.
Hey Murph, they just said eye test again. Take a shot. Come on.
Yep. But yeah, like I'll probably bring something over, bring him a bottle of something, and spend some time with my niece. That's always fun. And then it's Friday. I think I'm playing golf with my dad in Old Bridge, and then Saturday, Sunday I got the Cherry Hill Card Show in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. That'll be an awful lot of fun.
Hey Murph, if you had to take a shot for every time Syracuse threw a completed pass after Steve Angeli, you'd be over a month sober.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Maybe I should maybe I should make that joke to Fran in the press conference today. We'll see. But so
I wouldn't do that. That's kind of mean.
Hey Fran, guess what? Knock knock.
Fran's a good guy. He doesn't deserve that.
Yeah. Fran, knock knock, who's there? Not the Syracuse offense. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe we should just have some fun. I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. I mean, they lost 70-7. Oh, by the way, I didn't say it. Let me keep my word here. The worst Syracuse loss that I've lived through. And I was with my dad, and I drove up from Marywood because we got season tickets, and I went to the game. And we literally bought season tickets, and I would drive up from Marywood, go to the games with my dad. The worst loss that I've ever experienced Syracuse have. And it's not to Liberty, how some people said. It is to the Akron Zips of the MAC. Now, wait. So they didn't just lose.
They lost in some action, man? Come on.
Wait. So they didn't just lose to Akron. Okay? If you don't know Akron's mascot, if you don't know what a zip is, their mascot's a kangaroo. The kangaroo that showed up is emaciated, right? That they're skinny. They're like anorexic, except for their giant beer belly. So you don't just lose to Akron. You lost to Akron's skinny kangaroo with a big fat stomach who was in the end zone grabbing his stomach and shaking it around in the end zone. And I looked at my dad and I went, hey, we lost to that. And so to me, there's never going to be a loss worse than the Akron Zips and that guy just shaking around his little pot belly. He was anorexic. This emaciated kangaroo, this poor kangaroo, nobody fed it, only beer. And so but losing that game, like I understand losing by 63 arguably it's the worst loss that was on television this whole year of any FBS team. But it's not Syracuse's worst loss ever, because unless they lost 70-7 to Akron. But when you lose to when you lose to a kangaroo that was shaking it in the end zone the way he was, I just remember looking at my dad going like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. So
can I actually make a point? It's because I know we're not gonna have enough time to get to it real quick. It's baseball related. The Mets made a trade yesterday. Yeah. They traded away Brandon Nimmo, which was very sad.
Yeah, that is sad.
As somebody who has watched that kid grow up, as I've grown up, it's gonna be sad not seeing him on wearing the Mets uniform next year, and he'll be in Texas. Mets are getting, because now the trade's official. Mets are getting Marcus Semien back from the Rangers. I guess theoretically you'd make the trade partly to offset some money. Nimmo had 5 years left on his deal. Simeon's only got 3, so I guess theoretically you get the contract off the books sooner. And Nimmo's defense has taken a major step backwards, and it's sad because he's still a good offensive player, but comes down to, I was talking to my dad about it last night. It comes down to where you're going to play him. If he starts to get to the point where he can't play the field anymore, like if you bring Alonso back, you still have Soto. Somebody's got a DH, and then the other two have to play the field.
Yeah.
So I guess theoretically it opens up a spot for somebody to be the DH. Assuming Alonso's back, maybe you give him some DH at bats. But it's sad. I saw that trade come through, and I knew it was a possibility he could get traded. I saw that trade come through and just thought to myself, well, that hurts.
Yeah.
It really does. Because he was definitely one of my favorites. I got his jersey in my closet.
Yeah.
From what everyone has said, he's one of the most nice, genuinely pleasant human beings to be around. And you heard it from all the SNY analysts and all the people that are around the team that were talking yesterday about him. And he's a guy that's going to very much be missed in that clubhouse. But at the same time, Simeon's a Gold Glove second baseman. When he's right, he's still got 30 homer power, which out of a second baseman is really good. So who knows what'll happen in that? I'm sorry to bring this up kind of unannounced, but
no, you're good.
I just got reminded of it because DeComo just reported that the trade's official. So that's a sad one. That's a tough one, but I guess theoretically it opens up a hole in left field for maybe like a Cody Bellinger or maybe the youngsters with the Carson Benz you bring up or Jet Williams to come and play the field. We'll see what happens, but Nimmo leaving is definitely it's definitely a sad day in Mets land for sure.
Yeah, no, it is sad. And here's the thing. Last year it was like the 11th. It was like 11:59 when Pete Alonso got signed, and now we're gonna do it all over again, maybe. So
I hope not.
We'll see.
I really hope this thing is settled.
Go be a Blue Jay. If you're not gonna stay with the Mets, go be a Blue Jay, my guy.
No, go to the Red Sox, man. If he's leaving, go to the Red Sox. Seriously, like he would be. Pete Alonso in Fenway Park would be a menace. He would have 50 homers and 50 doubles. He would hit missiles off the Green Monster. And he could hit some high towering fly balls that would otherwise be caught in a lot of other stadiums that could hit off the middle of the Green Monster and get down for a double. So, if there's a place for Pete to go and be successful, to me it's Boston. But I really hope he doesn't leave at this point. But because if he leaves too, and now you lose Alonso and Nimmo in the same offseason,
he's still over here.
I don't know. I honestly don't know what I would do as a Mets fan. I really don't.
I don't know if
because you're not bringing in Kyle Tucker. Like he's not a guy that you're gonna go sign. That's sweet.
Yeah, I sold my graded 10 Pete Alonso rookie. So then what did I do? I went and found another one. And I got it really cheap.
Mm-hmm. But it's like you're not gonna replace Pete. Like I don't know how you replace him. Nimmo's replaceable, and I hate this. It kills me to say that he's one of my favorite players from this team. He was the longest tenured player in the franchise. Yeah, he's been with the organization since 2011. There was no college baseball in Wyoming where he grew up. So they found him playing Legion ball, and they developed him into being an all-star caliber player who got a 9-figure deal in free agency. And he earned it. He did. His plays declined over the last 2 years, which not that surprising. He's had the issues with his foot in the last couple of years. He's had the issues with his neck, with his back. I guess theoretically you're starting to see a player who's declining and his body's, kind of giving up on him. And, from that regard, I guess it makes sense. I don't love the trade. I like Simeon as a player. I still think he's, a better hitter than what we've seen over the last 2 years, mostly over the last year. But it's sad. It really is. But if you lose Pete too, I don't know how you're going to compete in 2025 because that's 40 homers, 125 RBI. That where are you going to find that? Josh Naylor's already off the board. Yeah. Like unless you're going and bringing in Kyle Tucker, who's not even close offensively to what Pete Alonso is, I don't know what you're doing. I really don't.
It'll be fun.
At that point, it's Cody Bellinger or bust for me.
What would be fun is Phillies becoming Mets and then watching Murph talk about.
I'll take Schwarber. I'll take Schwarber.
I just want to see it. I just want to see.
Look,
I want to see. I want to see Murph be like, "This guy's a great guy, but screw him. I can't stand him. I hope they lose." Fast forward 3 months later, Murph going, you know what? I really like this guy. He's a great player. Can't wait for him to be here.
Hey, I've never said Kyle Schwarber's not a good player.
You haven't.
Because he is.
Yeah,
There's a reason he hit 56 home runs this year.
By the way,
if you do lose Pete Alonso, that's the guy to go get on like a 3-year, $100 million deal.
Let me throw this at you. And we know the Mets have money because they spend it. But here's the thing. I got to ask you this before we get off of baseball. Because this is important. Okay. Now, I know how I feel. I'm not going to load my question. We got the MVP for the National League. It's Shohei Ohtani until he dies. But in the American League, should it have been who it was?
I know exactly what you're going to say. The answer is yes.
Okay. I'm just saying, I would love to get your thoughts because record-setting year for Cal Raleigh, he had to get to, I think, 49 home runs to have the most home runs ever by a catcher in a single season in the history of Major League Baseball. Think of all the good catchers out there. One of the faves on this show, Mike Piazza of the Mets. But when you look at Cal Raleigh, he has, in order to get this, you had to, I think, play 70% of your games as a catcher. But
yeah, something like that.
Cal Raleigh had to get to 49. He got to 60. He has the most home runs of a catcher in Major League Baseball in a single season in the history of Major League Baseball as a league in America, and he passed it by more than 10 home runs. He goes to the postseason, goes 7 games with the team that goes to the World Series, so it's not even like he did this all on a team that didn't make the playoffs. We know Aaron Judge is always going to be up for it. We know that as long as Aaron Judge is alive, he's going to be up for it. But I want to get your thoughts on, did the AL MVP go to the right person? Why or why not?
So my answer is no. And I know there's Yankee fans that'll come at me in the comments. Bring it on. My opinion is this. If you took Aaron Judge and took him off the Yankees, they're still a very good baseball team. Maybe they're not, 94 wins, losing the American League in the final day. They're probably still an 87, 88 win club.
Yeah.
If you took Cal Raleigh off of the Mariners don't even make the playoffs. They probably don't even finish over 500. They might have been in last place in the AL West. They would have never made the trade for Naylor at the deadline. They would have never, made any other trades at the deadline. They would have been a bad baseball team. The award is called Most Valuable Player, not Most Outstanding Player. Most Outstanding Player, to me, yes, was Judge. Won a batting title, 50-something home runs, 140 RBI. That's Most Outstanding Player. And I think most people would agree with me there. But you talking about Most Valuable Player.
Yeah.
Why does Shohei Ohtani always win the MVP? Because he's the most valuable player. He is 2 players. He is 2 players in one.
He's 2 players for the price of 10.
He is a Cy Young caliber pitcher and an MVP level hitter.
Yeah.
50 homer power, 100 mile an hour fastball. That's an MVP. He will win the MVP until he probably retires, or his arm falls off, or his legs fall off. If he turns into just a hitter at some point, yeah, maybe he won't win MVP every year anymore. But until he does, he's got the MVP locked up. But Cal Raleigh, to me, was the more valuable player than Aaron Judge. He was not better than Aaron Judge. He was more valuable than Aaron Judge. He is a Gold Glove caliber catcher. He's won a Platinum Glove in the past. I believe he was up for a Gold Glove this year. He didn't win it, I don't think. But he's a Gold Glove caliber catcher.
Yeah.
That is a difficult position to play because you got to keep in mind, you got to deal with the pitching staff. You're not just worried about hitting.
Yeah.
You got to make sure that you're on the same page with all of these pitchers. He started every playoff game for them behind the plate. Every game.
Yeah.
Look how good their pitching staff was this year. That is in part because of Cal Raleigh. Cal Raleigh hitting 60 home runs was just the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
To me, if he hit 63, he definitely would have been the MVP. There would have been no question about it. Obviously, he didn't. He only got to 60, but that's still impressive in its own right. But by the definition of the award, and I know it's never going to go by the definition of the award. It never has, and it never will. Maybe it will eventually.
Yeah.
It does in the National League now. It usually did when Ohtani was around. But Gold Glove caliber defensive catcher, great staff ERA,
No.
60 home runs. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened here, folks.
Yeah.
I really don't.
No,
Call it New York bias all you want. Call it Aaron Judge bias all you want.
here's the thing, though.
Did Aaron Judge deserve to win the MVP in any other year? Absolutely he did.
But think about it.
If Cal Raleigh was wearing pinstripes,
They would have won over 100 games.
would Cal Raleigh have been named
Might have won 105
the MVP?
games.
By the way, to Aaron Judge's credit, because I'm not taking anything away from him, I'm just saying this specific year I feel like Cal Raleigh, because when is Cal Raleigh going to do this again? When is another catcher going to do this again? That's really the question. But just to keep in mind here really quick, Aaron Judge this season, 331 batting average, 53 home runs, 114 RBIs, 179 hits, on-base percentage of almost 50% of the time at .457. So, I mean, he had an incredible season. I just feel like, you have this
most outstanding player.
You have this monumental season for Cal Raleigh. He should probably have been in it and won it. But let's get into some other pieces here. Here inside of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life in the Great Lakes Honda City studios. Murph and I are here, and we've talked about a lot of different things here inside these Great Lakes Honda City studios this morning. Let's, before we go, get into a few different things. Okay, we're going to go back to college football for a second, and we're going to look at the rankings. Now, the college football playoff rankings have not come out yet. They come out Tuesday night, except for the last week they come out on Sunday. But the AP's out, the coaches poll is out. Again, I don't know who's drunk I don't know which coaches are drinking on the job during this thing, but it confuses me. Like, I mean, listen, I understand sometimes things are different, but I look at the coaches poll and I'm like, was weed legalized like a lot earlier? Like, I mean, I'm just trying to understand, but I'm going to go through the top 25. Okay. And then Murph and I are going to discuss it. We'll go to where we want to go. Like, we'll argue what we want to argue, because obviously we're not going to talk about every single one of the 25 here, but we'll argue our position points and whatnot. Top I'm going to give you AP and coaches poll. I'll tell you what's similar and different. I'll run through this thing. So the top top 10's the same for the AP and the coaches poll. It's in this order, 1 through 10. Ohio State, Indiana. By the way, Ohio State got 58 points toward first place. Indiana got 7. Texas A&M got 1 in the AP. In the coaches poll, Indiana got none. Oh, look, people finally getting smart. Ohio State got 61 and Texas A&M got 2. So this is the top 10. It's the same in the AP and the coaches poll going into week 14 of college football. Ohio State 1, then Indiana, Texas A&M, Georgia, Oregon. That's your top 5. Then it's Ole Miss, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Alabama is your top 10. From there, we actually have, are these polls? Okay, so the polls are exactly the same until the 19th position. So let's go 11 through 18 is the same in the AP and the coaches poll. BYU is 11, then Vanderbilt, then Miami, who is 4 spots below the team that they beat and have the same record as, then Utah, then Michigan,
have a party with that one. Then Texas, then Virginia, then Tennessee. Why is Tennessee still even ranked? But then Tennessee, then this is where this is where it changes. USC in the AP is 19. They're 20 in the coaches poll. Georgia Tech is 19 in the coaches poll. They're 23 in the AP, according to the media. Then 20 in the AP is James Madison, who's above every team in the American. James Madison's 21 in the coaches poll. Then 21 in the AP is North Texas. They're 22 in the coaches poll. Tulane's 22 in the AP, 23 in the coaches poll. Like I said, Georgia Tech's 23 in the AP. Tulane's 23 in the coaches. Pittsburgh is the same at 24 in both. And SMU finally made it. SMU is the second best 7-3 team in the country. They're the second best 3-loss team in the country. They're 8-3, pardon me. Second best 3-loss team in the country. Dropped from the rankings, Missouri, which I agree with. Houston, they lost to TCU, so I agree with that. Now, Arizona State is 26 in the AP. 26. They're 26 in the coaches poll. Same for Navy is 27. And yeah, so there's some other schools getting. South Florida only got 4 votes. Wake Forest, folks, is 8-3. And every time they beat somebody, that team gets punished like Wake Forest is 3-8. Wake Forest is in. They got a head coach who came over from Washington State who's not good. Look at Washington State when the coach leaves, and then look at the coach now at Wake Forest. The team is 8-3 on the season. If that was Notre Dame, they'd be in the top 7, or top 9 or top 10. But Wake Forest is a good team. So that any team that they beat or were really close, like they beat SMU as their only loss in the conference in 2 years. If SMU wins their next game, it'll be SMU's only loss in the ACC since joining the ACC in the regular season in 2 years. That's 2 losses in 16 games. One loss in 16 games if they're able to win their last game. So SMU lost to Wake. Wake's 8-3. SMU's 8-3. So let's stop talking about how that Wake Forest loss is such a bad loss. I think Wake should be a lot higher than some of these other teams, San Diego State and Washington and Arizona and UNLV and blah. They're not even higher than UConn. But anyways, I digress. So Murph, of the top 25, which everything's the same 1 through 18, and then a lot of it's the same at the bottom of the top 25. But I'd love to get your thoughts on where you would like to go, what you disagree with, what you would like to have. Like if you could have an annoying moment of the week 4 days early on Wake Up Call, which one would be your annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt, that you would like to discuss in these rankings?
Well, number one, the fact that Tennessee and USC are still ranked. We agree on this. I don't think either one of them are as good as their ranking indicates. Michigan, I do think should be ranked. I don't think they should be ranked where they are. Miami should also be, personally, in the top 10 over Notre Dame.
Who else should be over Notre Dame, Murph? Is there anybody else that sticks out?
Let's see. Alabama. Vanderbilt. That's about it.
Okay. So Miami, Alabama, and Vanderbilt, which would knock Notre Dame out of the top 10. Rightly so. I believe
they're down to 12.
Yeah, I think they're I think going into this week they were 12 in my poll. So.
Yeah. And I don't think BYU is as good as they are. It's
agreed.
They have one loss, but they got blown out by Texas Tech in that one loss. And just looking at who else they've really played, like Utah, okay, that's a decent win, but they haven't played anybody else.
True.
So, I also don't think Utah's as good as they're led on to be either.
True.
Utah beat Cincinnati. Whoop-de-doo. Cincinnati's not exactly great this year.
Right. Better, but not great.
Also lost to Texas Tech. They beat UCLA. Again, whoop-de-doo. Arizona State, I guess you could say that's a good win. They beat them by a lot, actually. They blew them out.
Yeah.
But just looking further down, Texas should be higher. I would put Texas, as it stands right now, I'd put them over Michigan. I'd put them over Utah. I'd put them over Vanderbilt. Not over Vanderbilt. I'd probably put them over BYU too. I'd move them up to 14 or 13. I really would. As a 3-loss team. I mean, yeah, they have a bad loss. The Florida loss is not a good. That's a bad loss. We can safely say that.
Yeah.
But they lost to Ohio State, who was the number 1 team in the country, by 7.
Yeah.
And they lost to. Who else did they lose to? Georgia. To be fair, they got blown out by Georgia.
Yeah.
I still think they should be ranked higher than where they are. If they lose to Texas A&M, then yeah, they're going to fall out of the rankings completely.
Hey, Murph, you know how like they're punishing Texas and Alabama this year, but last year Notre Dame lost to a team that didn't even make their conference championship, and that was Northern Illinois. Do you remember that?
I do.
So do you think Florida State is better than Northern Illinois? Do you think that like Florida's better than Northern Illinois? So why is the SEC being punished so much? Like they're getting punished for beating up on each other, playing good schedules, but Notre Dame's getting promoted for having their best argument that they passed the eye test against 2 teams they lost to.
The eye test makes no sense. You look. I mean, there are teams that you look at that have played. I guess you could say weaker schedules that do look good on the field.
Yeah.
Right? Like Ohio State haven't played anybody other than Texas.
Well, and that's the thing is if they're knocking Texas.
Keep in mind, Ohio State's also, it's not like they're barely beating teams. They're blowing these teams out.
But they should
As they should.
They should be because these teams are not good. But here's the thing. Do people understand? Do the talking heads understand that the more they rip on Texas, the more they're ripping on Ohio State? Because if you continue to downplay Texas, that's the only quality win that Ohio State has. So if you're saying Texas ain't shiz, then Ohio State ain't shiz either.
Yeah. And they're beating, they are destroying these teams. Texas made it a game because Texas is a good team.
That game was 14-7.
Ohio State beat a good team.
It was 14-7. It was a defensive game, and it was the first game of the season for either team. So, if Notre Dame gets a pass that, well, they weren't comfortable yet. I mean, they had a new quarterback. So did Texas. So did Ohio State. Sayan wasn't the quarterback last year.
So did a
Arch
lot
Manning
of guys.
wasn't the quarterback last year.
So did a lot of schools.
The top 10 preseason, the top 10 teams in America in the preseason, 8 of the top 10 had a new quarterback. So, if you're making all these excuses for Notre Dame and all this stuff, then why aren't you making those excuses for Alabama? Why aren't you making those excuses for Georgia? I mean, Georgia doesn't have their starting quarterback, but they're doing okay, right? They don't have Carson Beck from last year, and they got 1 loss. So, what are we talking about? I mean, at the end of the day, Murph, punishing the SEC for beating the crap out of each other in the best conference in America, and then excusing Notre Dame, who doesn't even play in a conference and cannot play in a conference championship and will not play more than 12 games, that doesn't make any sense to me. I would rather take a beaten and bruised Texas than take a bunch of the teams that people are talking about.
Yeah, and why are we punishing the SEC anyway?
Right.
The SEC doesn't need you, NCAA.
Could Indiana...
They can be their own entity, and people will watch it.
Hold on, let's go down the list, Murph. Let's do this for fun, okay? Let's just go down this for fun. I just want to play this game. I know people are going to lose their minds, but I don't care.
That's okay.
So I'm going to play if Indiana had Alabama's schedule. This is the game we're going to play. Because Paul Finnenbaum also talked about this, and him and I don't agree on everything.
Who would they beat?
But yeah, so we're going to play who would they beat. So this is Indiana. I'm just going to go down, and I want you to say,
maybe we'll do Indiana and Ohio State to see who would beat.
We'll do Indiana and Ohio State. So I'm going to give you Alabama's schedule. and then I'm going to let you go down the line. And I'm actually going to switch it up with, since Ohio State beat Texas and that's their only quality win of the year, I'm going to say if Ohio State switched schedules with Texas. So we'll do that second. We're going to do this first. So I'm going to go down the line. If Indiana had Alabama's schedule this year, you're going to speak from Indiana's point of view, and you're going to say win or lose.
Okay.
Indiana at Florida State.
You would hope they win that game.
Indiana, Louisiana, Monroe.
Blowout.
Indiana, Wisconsin. Oh, that's funny. Indiana, Wisconsin. A terrible team in their conference.
That's a win.
Okay, because they're terrible. Indiana at Georgia.
They probably lose that game.
Indiana, Vanderbilt.
Close game. I'd probably still give it to Vanderbilt.
Indiana at Missouri.
Win.
Indiana, Tennessee.
Win.
Indiana at South Carolina.
Win.
Indiana, LSU.
Probably a win.
Indiana, Oklahoma.
This one's a toss-up. I still think Indiana's good. That game would be at home. I would give it to Indiana.
Oh, okay. Indiana, Eastern Illinois.
Win.
Indiana at Auburn.
Win.
Okay. So
like the two losses I gave them, like they would technically be losing to Vanderbilt at home. I personally think Vanderbilt's a better team than Oklahoma. It's a controversial statement, but I think they're a better team than Oklahoma.
I think they're better.
I only give Indiana. I would only give Indiana that Oklahoma win because the game's at home.
Okay.
I still think Vanderbilt's a better team, personally. I would have them at 2 losses, assuming everything would play out, which is very good in the SEC. Even if they lose the game to Oklahoma, that's only 3 losses.
I'd probably
in the SEC. That's not that's bad. That's a pretty good team.
I'd probably have them with 3 losses because if Florida State can beat Alabama, I think that they would give Indiana at least a show. So I'd circle that as a trap game. I'd circle Tennessee. I'd circle Oklahoma, even though those games are being played at home. But I would have them losing at Georgia and Vanderbilt. Now let's play if Ohio State played Texas's schedule this year. The only quality win they have, which is against the Longhorns. So here's Ohio State. So obviously the first game was Ohio State, Texas, so we're going to skip that one. So if Ohio State...
Let's assume the result is still the same.
Right. So if Ohio State had Texas's schedule this year, who do they beat? Who do they lose to? San Jose State.
I'll just say they're going to win the first 3 games because that's
UTEP and Sam Houston. Okay.
A bunch of garbage.
Ohio State at Florida.
Win.
Ohio State, Oklahoma.
I'd probably still take Ohio State.
Ohio State at Kentucky.
Win.
Which is always a trap game. Kentucky had a good
always
year.
a trap. Kentucky's always a good team in the an annoying team in the SEC. I still think they'd win that game.
Ohio State at Mississippi State.
Win.
Ohio State, Vanderbilt.
Win. It's at home.
Ohio State
at home.
Ohio State at Georgia.
Loss.
Ohio State, Arkansas.
Win.
Ohio State, Texas A&M.
I'd say win. I don't like Texas. I really don't like Texas A&M this year. So I'd have them at 1 loss to Georgia.
Okay.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think they'd have one. I think they'd have 1 or 2. I think.
Yeah, I think
the Oklahoma. I think the Oklahoma game, the Vanderbilt game, the Texas A&M game. Really, the Oklahoma game or the Vanderbilt game. I'd have them losing at Georgia like you, but Oklahoma, Vanderbilt. I think there's a chance. But again, I think Ohio State is the only team in the Big Ten right now that would go to the SEC and show up,
competitive,
be be the most competitive of them in Indiana and Oregon. And Oregon could have 5 losses, but I mean when
yeah, that's a good point.
When we look at Oregon is smoke and mirrors, right? I like Oregon. I really, really do. I really do. And I don't know how many teams can have 3 different quarterbacks in 3 different years and all be college football playoff caliber teams. But but they do. By the way, where Dylan Gabriel come from? UCF, baby girl, what's up? So, but when we look at Ohio State playing Texas's schedule, I like Ohio State in a bunch of these games, but I think Vanderbilt and Oklahoma would be interesting for sure.
They would be. I give them to Ohio State because they would be played at home in the Horseshoe.
Yeah. So let me ask you,
You know,
this.
and the time of year you're playing them, it's not warm. It's cold at that time of year. Those teams aren't used to that.
Yeah.
So like I that's why I would give them the edge in those two games. And it could go either way. Like you could win one, lose one, win them both, lose them both. Who knows?
So let me throw this at you. So if Ohio State had Texas' schedule and Indiana had Alabama's schedule, we could be looking at a 2 to 3 loss team for either one. So here's my question for you beyond that. Okay. Who are the 3 best teams in the FBS right now, in your opinion? Like if you had to pick actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do the Final Four. There's 12 teams in the college football playoff. If you had to pick today, who are the last 4 teams that will play in the semifinals in this year's college football playoff? If you had to pick right now.
I still think Alabama is really good. I could
disagree.
easily see Alabama playing in the semifinal.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Okay.
So that's one. Georgia. So it's hard not to say Georgia. This is, you know, without looking at any rankings, it's just, you know, if we saw the bracket, that's one thing, but like just assuming no bracket, this is just who I think the 4 best teams are.
Yeah.
Those 2 for sure. It's hard not to say Ohio State because of, you know, I still think they would be a 1-loss team in the SEC. So I would still put. They're still the reigning defending national champions. They will be until they lose, to me. So that's 3.
Okay.
I don't know if I could really give you a 4th. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe Ole Miss, maybe Oregon, maybe Indiana. Like, I think Indiana's still better than people give them credit for. Maybe Indiana. I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't. But that 4th team's tough.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, hell, it could be Miami, for all we know, assuming they make the play. I still think they're better than 13th.
Yeah.
They should be the highest ranked 2-loss team in my opinion.
I had them going
Either
into
them or
this.
Alabama.
I had them going into this week at 11 because I had Notre Dame at 12.
I honestly think either them or Alabama should be the highest ranked 2-loss team in the country. I really do.
Definitely Alabama.
For me, it's definitely Alabama, Georgia, probably Ohio State, and then the 4th is kind of a toss-up between like Indiana, Oregon, Ole Miss, Miami for me. I don't think Notre Dame. I don't think Notre Dame's all that good.
Yeah.
Assuming BYU makes it, I don't know that they will. I don't like them. They aren't very good.
I'm going to tell you this right now.
I'm going to completely ignore whoever the group of 5 team is because they're probably not going to win a game.
I'll tell you this, Murph. If BYU were to win the Big 12 championship, when they're saying
6.
They're one of the teams that I would even consider like putting the American above if BYU won. Like if they won, they got to win over Utah, and then like Arizona State. But like if I'm looking at North Texas and Tulane, and one of them wins it versus BYU, I would bump BYU.
Yeah, I mean,
I would. I think
I might still rank BYU higher just because of the strength of schedule.
But they talk about the ACC
being.
They talk about
There's
the ACC saying like, well, what if the ACC has a champion and they don't even let them in? And they're trying to make this thing like the ACC would get none and da 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 da. Like
you would be leaving out the ACC for what? James Madison in North Texas? Really?
I'd be telling you this right now.
Really?
I'd be telling you this right now. If BYU wins the Big 12 and you don't put into ACC teams, like I'm gonna beef with you big time because
Texas A&M, Texas Tech would be done.
Yeah,
I would not put Texas Tech in the playoff if they don't win the ACC. The Big 12.
The ACC right now, in this moment, SMU is the second best 3-loss team in the nation behind Texas. And they're both in Texas. Funny.
They could still play in the ACC championship.
Right. And here's my thing. SMU to me, if SMU wins their last game and SMU goes to the championship and they win it,
they're in.
Then, and let's say Miami doesn't play in the championship, but they don't lose again. But let's say they beat Pitt. Because remember, the best win that Notre Dame has is over Pitt. So you can't, they only beat Pitt. No. Because if Notre Dame beats Pitt and that's their best win, and Miami beats Pitt, then if you don't give Miami credit, you can't give Notre Dame credit. So here's the thing. Best case scenario for the ACC. SMU gets in. They play Virginia, let's say. Okay? They beat Virginia in the ACC championship with the wins they have in the close games they played. And keep in mind, that double overtime loss 48-45 to Baylor, they had a bunch of injured players. So if they give that to other teams, and you need to give it to SMU. So you got SMU. They win the ACC championship. Miami wins. They don't play in the ACC championship. They only got 2 losses. And you can't put Notre Dame in and not put Miami in. So here's the thing.
Yeah.
SMU wins. There was a case where Georgia Tech.
That's honestly best case scenario.
There was another best case scenario before this happened this week. And the other best case, this still exists. If Georgia Tech beats, and I know your reaction, but if it I'm just saying if Georgia,
we talked about it.
If Georgia Tech beat Georgia,
then they're in.
And played in the
ACC,
they're in. And played in the ACC championship and lost to SMU, then they're still in. Because they got one of the best wins in the country, and they got a few losses. So
my only thing against that now is the fact that they would now have 3 losses instead of 2. So I do think that changes things.
But they beat Georgia, so then so then do you put in the 3 of them?
I think there's a potential for it for sure.
The best case scenario for the ACC is for Georgia.
But then again, that would be who else did Georgia beat or Georgia Tech beat at that point?
Right. But
they lost to Pitt.
But here's the thing.
They lost to NC State, both of those teams, NC State's not very good.
So then we put it together and we say Ohio State has beaten nobody but Texas of merit. If Georgia Tech has a win over Georgia and Ohio State has a win over Texas, and they put Ohio State in with 1 quality win, and they don't put Georgia Tech in who has a better win than Ohio State does.
That's the difference.
But you still look at it and you say to yourself, if Georgia Tech were to play for an ACC title and Ohio State was to play for a Big Ten title, and Ohio State's best win is over Texas and Georgia Tech's best win is over Georgia, then what are we saying? We're saying that Ohio State, because they're undefeated against lesser competition and they have 1 quality win, and Georgia Tech is a champion.
Georgia Tech played lesser competition other than Georgia.
But
they each played one real. They each played one.
But if you look at
team,
if you look at Georgia Tech's competition versus the competition of Ohio State, I would argue that the unranked competition of Georgia Tech is better than what Ohio State had to go through.
What, Temple, Virginia Tech, Duke, Syracuse, NC State, who they lost to, Boston College, who they won by 2. Pitt, I'll give you, but they lost to Pitt. I'll give you Wake Forest.
Yeah, the Wake one.
They're not, quad 1 wins.
No.
They're solid wins.
But if they had beaten I mean, I guess head to head, Ohio State wins that because they lost to Pitt. If they had beaten Pitt, there would be another conversation.
That's a different story.
So I'll correct.
That's a different story.
I'll correct my case there on that, and I'll admit that doesn't really.
Had they beaten Pitt,
right?
Absolutely,
right. But
if they lose,
here's a crazy thing.
Even if
Notre Dame basically beating Pitt late in the season is going to help everybody. It helps Notre Dame. It would help Miami. But here's the best case scenario for the ACC. Georgia Tech beats Georgia. Miami doesn't play, so they can't have a third loss. in the ACC championship, but they beat Pitt, and SMU wins the ACC championship after winning their last game in the conference. Now you got 3 teams. But in that case, you're taking SMU and Miami.
Yeah. I wouldn't take in that scenario. I'm not taking Georgia
because
Tech.
I'm not taking Georgia
I'm
Tech
not
over
taking a
Vanderbilt.
3-loss Georgia Tech
I'm
team.
not taking
Correct.
Georgia Tech over Vanderbilt.
There are a lot of teams that I would take over Georgia Tech right now.
But you know
Let
what?
alone that being the case.
But I don't even know if Oregon's safe. I would right now. You're going to take Ohio State. You're going to take Indiana. You're going to take Ole Miss. You're going to take Texas A&M. You're going to take. But here's the question, Murph. If Texas beats Texas A&M and has 3 losses, but they have the wins that they have, plus the win over Texas A&M, and it's what have you done for me lately, which committees have shown means a lot to them, except for when it comes to Notre Dame. But no, it is what have you done for me lately because they don't care about the first 2 weeks. Let me say that does actually make a total sense. But so the committee cares about what have you done for me lately, except for Ohio State because the only win that they care about is week 1. But if Texas A&M loses to Texas has to get in. But then you got to put Texas in, you got to put Vanderbilt in, you got to put Ole Miss in, you got to put Georgia in, you got to put Alabama in. That's 5. Do you put in Texas A&M with a loss to Texas?
Yes.
So then you put in 6. So then where does Notre Dame go?
Honestly, so what?
That
knocks Notre Dame out.
Right. Like the best case scenario for the SEC is.
Can we actually draw that up?
Is for Texas
see what that would be like?
Yeah, let's draw it up. Let's do it. You know what? I'm gonna draw it on. Hold on, I'm gonna draw it on the screen. Or I'm gonna put it on the screen for us. By the way, This is what everything looked like as of last week. That's what the whole chart looked like and all that good stuff. So Murph and I, we're gonna draw this up here, and I'm gonna. So let's draw it up. So what are we doing here? Let's start with it. I'll draw as we go.
So let's based on that scenario where Texas beats Texas A&M.
Okay.
Let's assume Georgia beats Georgia Tech. So you're gonna have Alabama, Texas, Ole Miss, Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Georgia, Texas A&M. That's 6 SEC teams in the playoff.
Yeah.
And we didn't even say Oklahoma.
Right.
You could make that 7. Literally, we could literally be sitting here with talking about 7 teams from the SEC making the playoff. So you got Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas, Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma. That's 7 teams.
That's insane.
Then you're going to have the Big Ten, which is going to be...
In that case,
Ohio
you don't
State,
take Oregon,
Indiana.
though. You don't take Oregon.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
We got to see if there's even room for Oregon.
So who plays in the championship? Ohio State and Indiana?
Yes.
Okay.
I think they're both in regardless.
Okay. So
I do think that's going to be a much better game.
So this is arguing that they're both undefeated when they play each other.
Correct. Let's assume they're both undefeated. I'm for argument's sake, Ohio State wins the game by a touchdown. Right? They'll both be in. So that's 9. ACC champion. Let's say it's SMU for this purpose of this exercise. That's 10. Big 12 champion. Let's say it's Texas Tech.
Okay.
That's 11. And then your American / Sunbelt champion. Pick your poison.
Yeah. I don't care. I mean,
I
don't care if James Madison wins. I don't care if James Madison wins the Sun Belt. It's not better than the gamut that Navy, North Texas, South Florida, and Tulane have gone through this year.
Let's assume that it's one of them.
Yeah. So
in that scenario,
Texas,
there's no Notre Dame.
Right.
There's no Oregon. There's no Miami. None of them. Now, do I think they would actually take 7 SEC schools? I don't know. Because to me, you could make the argument for Oregon over Texas A&M in that scenario. Whatever.
So this is North Texas or Tulane winning the American because those two have
Yes.
the best bet of getting in. So then
Most likely, yeah. That's kind of. I think that makes sense.
So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 SEC schools. We have Ohio State and Indiana playing in the Big Ten championship, both undefeated. One of them hands the other one a loss. Let's say it's Ohio State, so that's 8, and so 7, 8, or 8, 9 for those two.
Yep.
SMU is 10. Texas Tech winning is 11, and then North Texas or Tulane would be 12.
Let's just say it's North Texas for the purpose of this exercise.
So that's 12. So here's the thing, though.
Yeah.
So if
That's no Notre Dame, no Oregon, no Miami.
Here's my question, though. If BYU wins the Big 12, then do you put in Miami or Oregon over BYU? Or Notre Dame?
No, you can't. You literally can't. Because then we have no ACC champion. You need 5 conference champions. That would screw the whole thing up. Because if BYU wins in this scenario, Texas Tech's out. I think if BYU wins the Big 12, Texas Tech is out regardless.
Yeah.
So they would just take Texas Tech's place. And then the rest of this would stay the same.
Yeah.
Because you literally, we would not have 5 conference champions if we do it that way.
So let's do it like this.
We're out of space.
So let's do it like this. I'm going to put this up here. Let's do it like this. So we got the SEC. We got the Big Ten. We have.
I love how you did the actual Big Ten logo.
Yeah, there you go.
I love that.
So we have the Big 12. We have the ACC. Freaking A. Come on.
Is your laptop a touchscreen?
Yeah.
Are you doing it with your finger?
Yep. So then
you know what I should get you for? I should get you one of those pens for Christmas.
Yeah, I have a stylus.
I
have a couple of them. I don't know why I don't use them. So I think it's because my finger, you get
I think it'd be faster for you, to be
oil on
honest.
your finger. So we got the SEC, the Big 10, the Big 12, the ACC, the American, Notre Dame. So let's just put up the suspects here, and then we'll role play here because I'm going to come up with a different one. So the suspects right now for the SEC: Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Vanderbilt. Okay, so Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, and Texas. Okay. For the Big 12, we have Ohio State, Indiana, and Oregon are the only ones I'm putting on this list. People that are drunk on a Monday morning that are picking Michigan. I don't care to hear your opinion.
Well, they're going to lose to Ohio State by 50.
It doesn't even matter if they beat them.
It won't even matter.
It doesn't even matter if they beat them. So the Big 12,
if they beat them, it's a different story. But it's probably not likely.
If they beat them, I'll put them in the top 12 or top 15. They're not getting in. They're not getting in the thing. So I'll rank them high. Here's the Big 12. So we got, who are the players? Texas Tech, BYU. In the ACC, the players are Georgia Tech.
Well, technically Utah too, but I don't think they can play for the conference championship.
The ACC, we have Miami, Georgia Tech. Here's the thing about people saying Miami's down, or the ACC's down this year, and I have to write more schools than I'm writing in the Big 12. So if the ACC's down, then the Big 12's down, baby. So Georgia Tech, Miami, we have SMU, we have Pitt, who's still alive.
And Virginia.
Everybody forgets about Virginia. So we have 5 teams. Look at that. More than the Big 12. Oh, look at that. It's the Big 12 and the Big 10 combined, but the ACC's down this year. This is where sex, lies, and videotape don't make sense. Let's go to the American. We have North Texas. And obviously that's a quote of a song, but what I'm really trying to tell you people is sometimes narratives make no sense. See, when you work out the math problem like we're doing on the screen, it exposes a lot of things that people talk about that have no validity. So let's talk about the American, because I don't want to talk about horseshoes and rainbows here. I want to talk about what's real. So North Texas, Tulane,
Navy is basically who has a chance.
Yeah, because East Carolina lost this past week. And then Notre Dame is... Oh, look, in the Notre Dame conference, there's only Notre Dame. So these are the players that we have, okay? So we got 7 from the SEC, 3 from the Big 10. That's 10. Then we have 2 from the Big 12, so that's 12. Then we have 5 from the ACC, 17. 3 from the American, 20, and Notre Dame, which is 21. So we have 21 teams. We're trying to find 12
who
spots.
can realistically maybe add, if you want to add James Madison just for the sake of adding James Madison for argument's sake, there's 22 teams that have a somewhat of a chance of making the playoff.
Yeah, so I'll put
realistically.
I'll put James Madison right in here from the Sun Belt. So we'll put a little Sun Belt in here. Okay. So there's 22 teams looking for 12 spots. Okay.
Yep.
We know that I think Georgia's a lock. Okay.
Let's go through locks.
Ohio State, Georgia,
Indiana, Ohio State are all locks.
Okay.
Probably Ole Miss, assuming if Ole Miss beats
Mississippi
State, they're a lock.
Right.
So we can kind of assume that
Alabama's a lock. I mean,
I think they are too.
I mean, how many teams do they have to beat, for goodness sakes?
So, I would make Alabama a lock.
By the way,
firmly believe that.
Putting in Indiana over Alabama last year when Alabama had 3 losses, how'd that work out? So, but
it was also a much different scenario.
It was because Alabama didn't have
Indiana was not a good football team last year.
Indiana was a terrible.
They are a much better team this year.
Indiana had beaten nobody, and Alabama had played a tougher schedule, but they didn't have as good of the wins as they have now. So right now we have 5 of the 12. We have almost half of the 12 locked in. The Big 12 is going to be decided by whoever wins it.
Yes.
I mean, that's what we're looking at right now.
So that's 6. Let's just say it's Texas Tech.
Okay, so
that's 6.
So we know that the Big 12 champion's going to get in.
Yes, as well as the ACC champion.
Because it's the top 5 highest ranked conference champions.
Yeah.
So right now, Texas Tech will be playing BYU in this thing, and Utah's on the outside looking in. So let's just say it's Texas Tech. So I'm going to check these off here. So top 5 conference champions, and I think this year it's the American, because the American has had multiple ranked teams, including the 3 teams that could win the championship. James Madison has not played a ranked opponent this year. So, and who is really fighting them in the Sun Belt for this specific year? Not saying that Coastal Carolina and Appalachian State aren't good teams, but we're talking about this year. So so we have 6 spots that are wrapped up. We have half of the field done.
Yeah.
So here's where we get to play games. So if North Texas or Tulane wins, and we say it's North Texas, then now we have 7. So this is where it gets interesting. Let's look at the end of the season for each of these. So let's go to the SEC. Now, right now, Texas A&M would be playing Georgia. If that happens, and Georgia right now has 1 loss on the season, let's say for argument's sake Texas A&M wins, that doesn't take Georgia out.
No. To me, as long as Georgia beats Georgia Tech this week, they are in regardless.
But here's where things get interesting. If Texas A&M loses to Texas and Ole Miss wins, and they get the
Ole Miss is definitely ranked higher, that's for sure.
And Ole Miss gets what they need. So Ole Miss we already have as a lock. If Texas A&M loses to Texas, then Texas A&M will have 1 loss on the season, but they won't play in the conference championship. Does that put Texas in? If they beat Texas A&M.
I think the only way it keeps Texas out is if you leave Oklahoma out too.
But so there's the question, because Texas beat Oklahoma head to head, but Oklahoma beat Alabama. So now if those are our 5, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we have to pick an ACC champion. Let's say it's SMU, so that's 10. Okay, let's say Miami only has 2 losses at the end of the season, and one of their wins is over Notre Dame head to head. They should knock them out. let's say Georgia Tech doesn't win and they don't beat Georgia, so they're not going to make it. Right?
Yeah.
Let's say Pitt doesn't play in the ACC title game, so they're going to be left behind. And between Virginia and Miami, they're going to take Miami. So we'll take Virginia out, even though they've had a good season. And they only lost by a touchdown to Wake Forest when their starting quarterback went out, who used to play at North Texas. Speaking of Virginia, Chandler Morris. So let's say Tulane's out, Navy's out. So we have, and JMU's out because North Texas takes a spot. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 SEC, 2 in the Big Ten. So that's 7. The Big 12 champion, let's say it's Texas Tech, that's 8. 9 is SMU, 10 is North Texas. We have 2 teams to pick from. Those 2 teams that we're picking from, and I'm going to change the color. We have 2 teams left, and we're going to be picking from these teams. I'm going to change the color here for what teams we're picking from. So here's the teams we're picking from. For the last 2 spots, we have Oklahoma, we have Vanderbilt, we have Oregon. Let's consider BYU gone if they lose to Texas Tech, because now they've lost to them twice, and they don't really have any key wins except for Utah, who's not in the thing. So now we're choosing from Miami, Notre Dame, Oregon, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt. We have 2 spots left. Argue your points, I'll argue mine.
Oklahoma, the argument is they beat Alabama. If we're putting Alabama in, it's hard not to put them in. To me, in this scenario, I think Vanderbilt's probably left out. And it sucks to say that, but I think they're probably the ones that are left out. It's hard to not put in the team that beat the team that beat the team, which is why Texas and Oklahoma, I think, both would be in. It's gonna be tough for a 3-loss at-large team to make the playoff. It is, but I think, like I said, you need to have the team that beat the team that beat the team that's in, because Texas beat Oklahoma, who beat Alabama. Both of them are in.
Right.
If Texas had 4 losses, then this is a completely different conversation. This is also assuming they beat Texas A&M. If they don't beat Texas A&M, then this conversation doesn't happen.
Right.
So, in this scenario, if they beat Texas A&M, they are in. To me.
Okay.
So, in this scenario, they're in. I think Vanderbilt's the team that's left out in this case, and it's nothing against Vanderbilt. They played a hell of a year.
Yeah.
They had a hell of a season.
Got to look at what they did, though.
I don't think there's room for them.
They played Alabama and Texas, and they lost to both of them.
Yeah.
So those are their 2 losses. Now, they lost to Alabama by 16. They lost to Texas by 3, 34-31. Both of those games were on the road. So, but them not winning that game, you can't argue Vanderbilt over Texas. You can't argue them over Alabama.
Correct.
So if they get bumped out of this thing and Texas beats Oklahoma and Oklahoma beats Alabama, so you got all those in. So now I
think that's fair.
Yeah, it is.
So now you got 3 teams for 1 spot.
Yeah, so now
it's between Oregon, Miami, and Notre Dame.
So you got Oklahoma and now we're choosing between Oregon, Miami, and Notre Dame.
In this case, I think the choice is Oregon. Simply because 1 loss to a very good Indiana team. Obviously, I'm not going to say that their Penn State win was a good win.
Right.
But Penn State was also a much different team when they played versus what they are now. Drew Aller was still playing. James Franklin was still coaching. It was a top 5 matchup. Obviously, Penn State is not good. We know that now. But at the time, that Penn State roster was very different than it is now. So for me personally, I'm not giving him credit for the win, but it's not as bad a win, as if you beat Penn State now. Personally for me. They got to win over Iowa. Iowa's a solid team. I'll give them credit for that one.
Okay.
you cannot put Notre Dame in without Miami, to me. So that completely rules out Notre Dame.
Okay.
Notre Dame, in this case, for me, is done. It's Oregon versus Miami at this point.
Okay.
And if you look at it, Miami's got worse losses, and they've got 2 of them. So this situation, this scenario, I think it's Oregon. Although there is a case to be made for Miami based on who they've beaten, but
yeah,
I think it's in this scenario, it's got to be Oregon as the last team.
So,
not saying they're 12th, but
right,
they'd be the last team in
right.
to me.
So you got Oklahoma and Oregon. So that's where Murph is going here. Now, I'm going to make a little argument here on my side. So, Georgia plays Texas A&M inside of I'm gonna do another color here. So Georgia plays Texas A&M. Oops, actually, I guess I could just do this. I can go this way. All right, there we go. So Georgia plays Texas A&M in the championship game. Georgia wins. Texas A&M beats Texas. So Georgia and Texas A&M both play in the conference championship. Texas takes their 4th loss. Texas is out.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia and Texas A&M are in because Texas A&M's only loss is to Georgia. So I got those 2 in. Alabama doesn't play in the championship, but their wins speak for themselves. They only have 2 losses. So I put Alabama in. I put Texas A&M in. So I'll put a little star next to them. And I put Georgia in. So those 3 are in. Ole Miss is in because they beat Mississippi State. Okay, so Ole Miss is in, so they endure. And so now I look at this and I say to myself, what about Vanderbilt? What about Oklahoma? Ohio State plays in the championship against Indiana. They both get in. Between the 2 of them, they have 1 loss. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 so far. So I got 6. Texas Tech wins. I got 7. SMU wins. I got 8. North Texas wins. I got 9. Even for argument's sake, let's just say Tulane wins, not North Texas. So Tulane wins. I still picking them over James.
I'll give Tulane some love. Why not, right?
So I got 9 here. I got 9. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I got 9. So now I'm looking for 3 spots.
Now we're basically down to...
We are down to Notre Dame, Miami, Oregon, Oklahoma, and Vanderbilt. Okay? So Vanderbilt and Oklahoma have a common opponent that they lost to. They both lost to Texas. So with them both losing to Texas, I now go back and I say to myself, okay, Oklahoma beat Alabama, Vanderbilt didn't, so other common opponent takes Vanderbilt out. So now I'm looking at Oklahoma, I'm looking at Oregon, I'm looking at Miami, I'm looking at Notre Dame. Those are my 4.
For 2 spots, right?
For
Or for 3 spots. For 3 spots.
Yeah. So I got, because I got...
Ooh, this is the chaos scenario.
So I got Vanderbilt out. Okay? So now I'm looking at Oklahoma. Actually, no. So I got Oklahoma. So I'm looking at Oklahoma because they knock out Vanderbilt. So I'm looking at Oklahoma, Oregon, Miami, Notre Dame.
I know exactly who you leave out.
Notre Dame's out because they lost to Miami.
And so there's your 3.
So Texas A&M is in. And so now I say to myself, okay, I'm going to put in Oklahoma because they got to win over Alabama, and I'm putting Alabama in. Okay? I'm going to put in Miami because they bump out Notre Dame. And Miami's got to win over the ACC champion SMU. And so, oh no, wait. SMU beat them. Never mind. So, my mistake.
Either way, I'm
so
still putting them
Miami lost to SMU, and so we see that SMU is a good team, right? So Miami loses to SMU and they lost to Louisville. I don't consider those bad losses because Louisville's
not a bad loss.
Louisville should have been ranked longer before they were. So Louisville, not a bad loss. SMU beat them, and they beat Miami, so SMU's in. So I got that. I look at Miami over Notre Dame, and then I look at Miami, and I say, okay, Miami's wins this year that I'm going to key in on. Okay, their two losses are to the ACC champion, SMU, and to a Louisville team that's still a strong team this year with Jeff Brown. So Louisville's done some good things, and so I got to give them respect where respect is due. So I look at that and I say, okay, Miami, your two losses to me, not that bad. Now, when I'm looking at the rest of Miami, I have to say to myself, okay, who did Miami beat that I consider of merit? So I go into Miami's schedule and I say, okay, you beat Notre Dame, you beat a South Florida team that's been pretty good and going to finish in the upper echelon of the American. And if you beat Pitt your last week of the season, that's the best win that Notre Dame has. So Miami, you beat Notre Dame, you both beat Pitt. Good stuff for Miami, so Miami's in. So then I go and I look at Oklahoma and I look at Oregon. And I say, all right, Oregon, you didn't play for the Big 12 championship. However, you only got one loss. And I look at Oregon's schedule and I go, okay, you beat Penn State in overtime on the road. I don't consider it a great win, but you beat Drew Aller in the bunch, and you beat it when James Franklin was still the coach. Then I say, you lost to Indiana, you beat Iowa on the road, and you knocked USC out of this thing. So I say, okay, not great wins, okay? You don't have a single tier 1 win or a quad 1 win, but you got two quad 2 wins. You got Iowa and you got USC. So you got two quad 2 wins. And then I look at this and I go, but Oregon, your wins aren't better than what Oklahoma's done. So I put in Oklahoma, Miami, and Oregon. I keep out Notre Dame, and this is where we get 2 teams from the ACC, 1 team from the Big 12, 1 team from the American, 0 from Notre Dame's fake conference, 0 from the Sun Belt. We take 3 from the Big 10, and I take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the SEC to total this thing out. So that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's what we look at here. So I think the SEC is getting no less than 5 teams in most cases. The Big 10, they're going to give 3 because Oregon's probably not going to take another loss. The Big 12 is going to get 1. The American's going to get 1. But now the thing becomes, does the ACC get 2 or do they get 1 and Notre Dame gets 1? But here's the reality. If whoever wins the ACC title game, Miami's going to be the second best team that the committee's going to look at, and they beat Notre Dame head-to-head, so that's why the ACC should get 2. And I think in a lot of cases the ACC should get 2, in my opinion, because they've had a tougher conference this year. And say what you want to say about Florida State, they're one of 2 teams to beat Alabama. And say what you want to say about the ACC. Clemson's a bowl team. They've gone to a bowl game now in all 17 years of Dabo Swinney being the head coach since 2009. They went to 4 championship games in 5 years. They won 2 of them. And how many ACC titles do they have to win for people to shut up? And SMU is a good team. So I think in this scenario, there's many scenarios that Notre Dame doesn't make it. But I think if it comes down to Notre Dame versus Oregon, do they value, I mean, they both beat USC, Oregon beat Iowa, Notre Dame beat Pitt. In that case, do they let Notre Dame,
similar, yeah.
Do they let Notre Dame in over a 1-loss Oregon, argue that a 2-loss Notre Dame gets, because neither one of them is going to play in the championship game? Because Oregon will not be playing in the Big Ten. Notre Dame doesn't have one. So then do you say a 2-loss Notre Dame is better than a 1-loss Oregon?
I'd say no. I mean, in that scenario, you got to take the 1-loss team.
Yeah.
I think that's just because who is their 1-loss to? The
Indiana.
number 2 team in the country.
Yeah.
Maybe they're 5 after the Big Ten championship after they lose. Who did Notre Dame lose to? Miami, who was not in the playoff.
Yeah.
In that scenario. And who was their other loss?
Texas A&M.
Texas A&M. All right, Texas A&M you could give them, but if Texas A&M loses the SEC championship, they have 2 losses. Miami or Oregon has 1. that takes precedence. That would be Oregon in that scenario. But I think there's a lot of interesting things that can happen. You know, it's one of those things where there's a lot of chaos that can unfold over the next 2 weeks. We'll know in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from yesterday, who will be playing in the playoff.
And we will know. We will also know, once again, if conference championships even matter anymore. Or if they only matter for certain. If it's better to have 1 or 2 losses, have 1 or 2 quality wins, and not play in your conference championship game, Miami. So we shall see what happens here. A quick note here, because we got to round out the show, and I got to get hopping. So any quick note on the NFL?
The Jets still suck. But real quick, Myles Garrett. 18 sacks through 11 games. He's 5 sacks away from breaking Michael Strahan and TJ Watt's all-time record. It's going to happen, folks.
By the way, the sack leader, now officially in Jacksonville history, Josh Hines-Allen, who's done it in short order as well. The all-time sack leader in all of Jacksonville history. So shout out to him, who he passed the single season record a couple of years ago over Calais Campbell, who I love as well. And I've interviewed them both, but now Josh Hines-Allen is the all-time leader in Jacksonville history in sacks. So let's go, big dog. My defensive end / linebacker hybrid. Murph, as always, wonderful to talk with you. Happy early Thanksgiving. And I will look forward to have more conversation with you. We will talk again in next week, so we'll have plenty to say on December 1st, believe it or not. So I'll look forward to it.
That's absolutely. But I appreciate it, my friend. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
You too, brother. Take care. That coming from Murphalation Station. We're going to take our last step aside here on the show. We're going to round things out right after this. Stay with us.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening the doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people, that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing. And so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and in those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community community any way we can. And I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jim Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand butter chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Head there Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, and on Sundays from 10 to 5. They are there for you with that big kid spirit, finding awesome gifts as we get into the holiday season for you and your loved ones. GG Cards and Breaks. We look forward to seeing you there this week. Chick-fil-A DeWitt on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. You can find them for all of the favorites that you love from Chick-fil-A, as well as now having the peppermint chip shake back for the holiday season, for Christmas and Thanksgiving, and all of the wonderful things. Head over to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt. Their double drive-through and giant brick building is hard to miss. We'll see you on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard today. With that being said, I want to thank you for being with us up and down the East Coast and Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both / Wake Up Call DT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com. Once we go live, we go to Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Thanks to all of our incredible partners we mentioned today in Central and Upstate New York. Find out more about the lasers by going to onondaga.lasers.com. For the Bobcats, by going to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. And for the Bearcats, going to binghamtonbearcats.com. They're all on youtube.com / Wake Up Call DT. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, find the OCC playlist, the BSC Syracuse playlist, as well as the Binghamton playlist. You can find out more on each school by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. We appreciate you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Stay safe. God bless. No stress. Do your best. Be good to each other and yourself.